The Art of Japan, Traditional and Modern Perspectives, written by Haya Vent, narrated by Kara Miller. Chapter 1, Introduction to Japanese Art. Japanese art is a profound and multifaceted tradition that reflects the country's rich cultural heritage, spiritual beliefs, and evolving aesthetics. Spanning thousands of years, Japanese art has developed through continuous influences from neighboring cultures, such as China and Korea, while maintaining a unique identity shaped by indigenous philosophies like Shinto and Zen Buddhism. The harmony between nature, spirituality, and artistic expression is a defining characteristic of Japanese art, seen across various mediums, from painting and sculpture to calligraphy and ceramics. One of the earliest forms of Japanese art can be traced back to the Jomon period, c. 14,000 to 300 BCE, known for its intricately decorated pottery and clay figurines called dogu. As Buddhism spread from China and Korea in the 6th century, it profoundly influenced Japanese artistic development, particularly in religious sculpture and temple architecture. The Nara and Heian periods, 710 to 1185, saw the flourishing of Buddhist art, with elaborate paintings and carvings adorning temples. Courtly aesthetics also emerged during the Heian period, characterized by delicate Yamato-e paintings that depicted seasonal landscapes and historical narratives. During the medieval Kamakura and Muromachi periods, 1185 to 1573, art took on a more dynamic and expressive quality. The introduction of sumi-e, or ink wash painting, showcased the simplicity and depth of Zen philosophy, emphasizing the beauty of imperfection and empty space. The influence of samurai culture also contributed to the creation of refined lacquerware, armor, and intricate screen paintings. By the Edo period, 1603 to 1868, the rise of a wealthy merchant class led to the popularization of ukiyo-e, or pictures of the floating world. These vibrant woodblock prints depicted urban life, kabuki actors, and beautiful landscapes, with artists like Hokusai and Hiroshige leaving a lasting impact on both Japanese and Western art. With the arrival of modernization in the Meiji era, 1868 to 1912, Japan embraced Western artistic techniques while preserving its traditions. The fusion of Western realism with Japanese sensibilities led to the emergence of Nihonga, a modern painting style that reinterpreted classical themes. In contemporary times, Japanese art continues to evolve, encompassing avant-garde movements, manga, anime, and digital media. Despite these changes, the reverence for nature, simplicity, and craftsmanship remains central to Japanese aesthetics. Japanese art is a testament to the country's ability to balance tradition and innovation. Whether through ancient ink paintings or cutting-edge digital installations, Japanese artists continue to push boundaries while staying true to the principles that have defined their artistic heritage for centuries. This intricate interplay between past and present is what makes Japanese art both timeless and ever-evolving. The evolution of Japanese aesthetics. The aesthetics of Japanese art have undergone continuous transformation, shaped by cultural, philosophical, and historical influences. While Japan has absorbed artistic elements from China, Korea, and later the West, its aesthetic principles have remained deeply rooted in indigenous traditions and beliefs. Concepts such as wabi-sabi, the appreciation of imperfection and impermanence, and the use of empty space to create meaning, have played fundamental roles in defining Japanese artistic sensibilities across different eras. In its earliest forms, Japanese art was closely tied to nature and spirituality. The Jomon period, 14,000 to 300 BCE, produced pottery with intricate patterns, emphasizing organic forms and tactile beauty. As Japan entered the Yayoi, 300 BCE, 300 CE, and Kofun, 300 to 538 CE periods, art became more structured, reflecting the growing influence of social hierarchy and early state formation. However, it was with the introduction of Buddhism in the 6th century that Japanese aesthetics took a transformative turn, integrating religious symbolism, intricate carvings, and elegant compositions inspired by Chinese Tang Dynasty art. The Heian period, 794 to 1185, marked the emergence of a distinct Japanese aesthetic, with the development of Yamato-e painting, characterized by soft colors, delicate lines, and an emphasis on narrative scenes from literature and courtly life. This era also saw the refinement of mono no aware, a sensitivity to the fleeting nature of beauty, which became a defining trait in poetry, painting, and even seasonal rituals. During the Kamakura, 1185 to 1333, and Muromachi, 1336 to 1573 periods, aesthetics shifted towards simplicity and introspection, influenced by Zen Buddhism. Sumi ink painting, with its monochromatic tones and expressive brushstrokes, embodied the idea that beauty lies in restraint and spontaneity. Similarly, kari sansui, dry landscape gardens, used carefully placed rocks and sand to evoke natural scenery, emphasizing the power of suggestion rather than direct representation. By the Edo period, 1603 to 1868, art became more diverse, catering to both aristocratic tastes and the rising merchant class. The ukiyo-e woodblock prints, with their bold colors and stylized compositions, celebrated the transient pleasures of life, contrasting with the minimalist aesthetics of tea ceremony ceramics and Zen-inspired architecture. This period highlighted the coexistence of lavishness and restraint in Japanese aesthetics, a duality that remains influential today. With the advent of modernization in the Meiji era, 1868 to 1912, Japan embraced Western realism, photography, and oil painting while preserving traditional elements. Contemporary Japanese art continues to evolve, blending technology, pop culture, and historical motifs. Despite these shifts, core aesthetic principles such as asymmetry, natural materials, and an appreciation for impermanence remain deeply embedded in Japanese artistic expression, ensuring that its visual culture remains both timeless and innovative. Influences from China and Korea. Japanese art has been profoundly shaped by the cultural exchanges with China and Korea, with both nations serving as vital conduits for artistic, religious, and philosophical developments. While Japan has maintained its own unique artistic identity, many of its foundational artistic traditions, including painting, sculpture, calligraphy, and ceramics, were influenced by techniques and ideas imported from the Asian mainland. Over time, these influences were adapted and refined, creating distinctively Japanese forms of artistic expression. One of the most significant influences came with the introduction of Buddhism to Japan in the 6th century via Korea, which in turn had received it from China. With Buddhism came religious iconography, temple architecture, and sculptural techniques that dramatically reshaped Japan's artistic landscape. Korean artisans played a key role in bringing advanced bronze casting and woodworking skills to Japan, contributing to the development of Buddhist statues and temple structures. The influence of Chinese Tang Dynasty art was particularly strong during the Nara period, 710 to 794, as seen in the highly detailed and realistic Buddhist sculptures housed in temples like Todaiji. Calligraphy, another essential element of Japanese art, was also introduced from China. The early Japanese writing system, known as kanji, was directly borrowed from Chinese characters, and with it came the Chinese tradition of brush calligraphy. Over centuries, Japanese calligraphers developed their own distinct styles, blending Chinese techniques with a more fluid and expressive approach influenced by native aesthetics. The kana script, derived from Chinese characters, emerged in the Heian period, 794 to 1185, and became an essential part of Japan's literary and artistic culture, allowing for a uniquely Japanese form of calligraphic expression. Painting styles in Japan were also deeply affected by Chinese traditions. During the Heian period, Japanese artists began to develop Yamato-e, a native style of painting that was inspired by but distinct from Chinese landscape painting. The introduction of sumi, or ink wash painting, during the Muromachi period, 1336 to 1573, further cemented the influence of Chinese Zen aesthetics, emphasizing simplicity, spontaneity, and the beauty of empty space. This style, brought by Zen Buddhist monks who had studied in China, became a defining element of Japanese visual art. Ceramic techniques, particularly those associated with porcelain production, were also influenced by China and Korea. Korean potters, many of whom were brought to Japan in the late 16th century, played a crucial role in refining Japanese ceramics, leading to the development of renowned pottery styles such as Hagi, Karatsu, and Satsuma. These ceramics, while initially inspired by Chinese and Korean methods, soon became distinctly Japanese, reflecting the country's preference for natural, understated beauty. While China and Korea provided the foundation for many aspects of Japanese art, Japan continuously transformed these influences, incorporating them into its own cultural framework. The result is an artistic tradition that, while rooted in external influences, remains uniquely Japanese in its philosophy, technique, and aesthetic sensibility. The role of nature and spirituality. Nature and spirituality are deeply interwoven into the fabric of Japanese art, shaping its aesthetics, themes, and artistic philosophy. From ancient times, the reverence for natural elements and spiritual beliefs has influenced artistic expression, creating a unique visual culture that emphasizes harmony, impermanence, and a deep connection to the natural world. These principles are reflected across various forms of Japanese art, including painting, sculpture, architecture, and traditional crafts. Shinto, Japan's indigenous belief system, has played a crucial role in shaping the country's artistic traditions. Shinto views nature as sacred, with mountains, rivers, trees, and even rocks believed to house divine spirits known as kami. This spiritual connection to nature is evident in the design of Shinto shrines, which are often built using natural materials and blend seamlessly into their surroundings. Architectural elements such as torii gates, which mark the entrance to sacred spaces, are designed to symbolize the transition between the human and spiritual worlds. Many early Japanese artworks, including pottery and ritual objects, were created to honor these spiritual forces and reflect a respect for the natural order. Buddhism, which was introduced to Japan in the 6th century, further reinforced the connection between art, nature, and spirituality. Zen Buddhism, in particular, emphasized simplicity, impermanence, and meditation, which became central themes in Japanese aesthetics. Zen-inspired sumi ink paintings use minimal brushstrokes to capture the essence of landscapes, while dry rock gardens, sansui, represent vast natural scenery through carefully arranged stones and raked sand. These artistic expressions focus on evoking a sense of tranquility and contemplation, rather than direct representation. Seasonal changes and the transient beauty of nature have also been a major focus in Japanese art. The concept of mono no aware, or the awareness of impermanence, is deeply tied to the changing seasons, particularly in depictions of cherry blossoms, autumn leaves, and flowing water. This theme is present in ukiyo-e woodblock prints, poetry, and even the design of kimono textiles, where nature is used as a metaphor for the fleeting nature of life. Tea ceremony aesthetics, particularly in the design of ceramics and tea houses, further demonstrate the integration of nature and spirituality in Japanese art. The wabi-sabi philosophy, which values imperfection, asymmetry, and the passage of time, is reflected in the rough textures of tea bowls and the simple yet deliberate construction of tea rooms. These elements encourage mindfulness and an appreciation for the beauty found in natural flaws. Through its artistic traditions, Japan has continuously celebrated the spiritual and aesthetic power of nature. Whether in ancient religious artifacts, landscape paintings, or contemporary installations, the deep reverence for nature and spirituality remains a defining characteristic of Japanese art, offering a timeless perspective on the beauty and impermanence of life. Chapter 2, Traditional Japanese Painting, Nihonga. Traditional Japanese painting, known as Nihonga, is a refined and deeply rooted artistic tradition that embodies the essence of Japanese aesthetics and cultural heritage. Developed as a response to Western-style oil painting introduced during the Meiji period, 1868 to 1912, Nihonga sought to preserve and modernize traditional painting techniques while maintaining a distinctly Japanese identity. Unlike oil painting, which relies on synthetic pigments and canvas, Nihonga is created using natural materials such as mineral pigments, ink, and gold leaf on silk or handmade washi paper. This technique results in a soft, luminous quality that enhances the delicate and atmospheric beauty characteristic of Japanese art. The origins of Nihonga can be traced back to earlier painting traditions such as Yamato, which flourished during the Heian period, 794 to 1185. Yamato-e focused on Japanese landscapes, seasonal themes, and literary scenes, often depicted in bright colors with flowing compositions. This style contrasted with the monochromatic Sumi ink paintings introduced later through Zen Buddhist influences from China. Sumi-e emphasized simplicity and spontaneity, using expressive brushstrokes to capture the essence of nature and spiritual contemplation. Nihonga artists integrated elements of both traditions, blending delicate color applications with the bold, gestural qualities of ink painting. One of the defining characteristics of Nihonga is its emphasis on harmony with nature. Many paintings depict landscapes, flora, and fauna, often rendered with meticulous attention to detail and a sense of seasonal awareness. Cherry blossoms, autumn leaves, birds, and flowing water frequently appear as subjects, reflecting the Japanese appreciation for the transient beauty of the natural world. The concept of mono no aware, or the awareness of impermanence, is often expressed in these compositions, evoking a quiet sense of nostalgia and fleeting beauty. Throughout its development, Nihonga evolved to incorporate contemporary themes and individual artistic expression while maintaining its traditional techniques. During the late 19th and early 20th centuries, artists such as Yokoyama Taikan and Hishida Shunso introduced new approaches to brushwork and shading, creating a more fluid and atmospheric style known as Morotai, hazy style. Their works redefined the boundaries of Nihonga, allowing for greater artistic freedom while preserving the essence of traditional Japanese aesthetics. Today, Nihonga continues to be practiced by artists who seek to bridge the past and present. While some adhere strictly to classical methods, others experiment with new materials and subject matter, expanding the scope of traditional Japanese painting. Despite these modern interpretations, Nihonga remains deeply connected to Japan's artistic heritage, celebrating its unique blend of technique, philosophy, and natural beauty. Early Buddhist art and scrolls. The introduction of Buddhism to Japan in the 6th century brought profound changes to Japanese art, leading to the development of intricate religious iconography, sculpture, and painted scrolls. Buddhist art, initially influenced by Chinese and Korean traditions, evolved to reflect Japan's unique aesthetic sensibilities and spiritual beliefs. Temples became centers of artistic production, housing elaborate statues, murals, and hand-painted scrolls that conveyed Buddhist teachings and narratives. One of the earliest and most significant forms of Buddhist art in Japan was Buddhist sculpture, which was primarily made of wood, bronze, or clay. Inspired by Korean and Chinese models, early Japanese Buddhist statues depicted serene and meditative figures of the Buddha, bodhisattvas, and celestial beings. During the Asuka period, 538 to 710, artists crafted detailed bronze statues, such as the Shaka Triad by the sculptor Toribushi, housed in Horyuji Temple. These statues reflected the influence of Chinese Northern Wei-style art, characterized by elongated features and flowing robes. Over time, Japanese sculptors developed softer, more naturalistic forms, as seen in the wooden statues of the Nara and Heian periods. In addition to sculpture, painted Buddhist scrolls played a crucial role in religious practice and artistic development. Known as imaki, illustrated hand scrolls, these works combine painting and calligraphy to depict sacred texts, moral lessons, and historical events. Among the most famous examples is the Genji Monogatari Emaki, a Heian period scroll that, while not strictly Buddhist, demonstrates the sophisticated narrative style that influenced later religious scrolls. More directly related to Buddhist teachings, the illustrated scroll of the hungry ghosts, Gakizoshi, vividly portrays Buddhist concepts of karma and the consequences of sinful actions. These scrolls were often commissioned by temples and aristocrats to spread Buddhist teachings and encourage devotion. Another important form of early Buddhist painting was mandalas, intricate, symbolic diagrams representing the cosmic order of Buddhist philosophy. The Taizokai, Womb World Mandala, and Kongokai, Diamond World Mandala, both introduced from China, became central to esoteric Buddhist practices in Japan. These elaborate paintings were used in rituals, meditation, and temple worship, helping practitioners visualize the enlightened realms. Through sculpture, scrolls, and temple murals, early Buddhist art in Japan played a vital role in shaping both religious devotion and artistic expression. While initially influenced by foreign styles, Japanese artists gradually refined their techniques, creating works that reflected the country's distinctive approach to spirituality and aesthetics. These artistic traditions laid the foundation for centuries of Buddhist art, continuing to inspire and evolve throughout Japanese history. Inkwash painting, sumie. Inkwash painting, or sumie, is a distinctive form of Japanese painting that emphasizes simplicity, spontaneity, and the expressive power of monochrome ink. Introduced to Japan from China during the Kamakura period 1185 to 1333, sumie became closely associated with Zen Buddhism, which valued direct expression and the beauty of imperfection. The art form relies on the skillful use of brushwork, varying shades of black ink, and negative space to create compositions that evoke emotion and depth with minimal detail. Sumie originated in China as part of the literati painting tradition and was brought to Japan by Zen monks who had studied abroad. The technique quickly gained popularity among Buddhist practitioners as its fluid and intuitive nature aligned with Zen principles of mindfulness and non-attachment. Unlike more detailed painting styles, sumie focuses on capturing the essence of a subject rather than its precise appearance. A few well-placed strokes can suggest movement, atmosphere, and emotion, leaving room for interpretation and imagination. One of the defining characteristics of sumie is the use of different ink tones to create contrast and depth. Artists grind solid ink sticks with water on a stone surface to achieve a range of shades, from deep black to delicate grays. The brushwork is highly expressive, with varying levels of pressure and speed creating bold, sweeping lines or soft, delicate details. This dynamic use of ink and space allows sumie to convey a sense of energy and movement while maintaining an overall simplicity. Common themes in sumie include landscapes, animals, bamboo, birds, and flowers, each infused with symbolic meaning. Bamboo, for example, represents resilience and flexibility, while cranes symbolize longevity and good fortune. The composition often incorporates large areas of blank space, known as ma, which enhances the viewer's sense of contemplation and adds to the painting's depth. This use of emptiness reflects the Zen belief that what is left unsaid or unseen is just as important as what is depicted. During the Muromachi period, 1336 to 1573, sumie flourished under the patronage of Zen temples, with artists like Sesshu Toyo mastering the art form and developing a uniquely Japanese style. His works, characterized by dynamic brushstrokes and subtle gradations of ink, remain some of the most celebrated examples of sumie painting. Even in modern times, sumie continues to be practiced by artists who appreciate its meditative qualities and expressive potential. The tradition has influenced various art forms, including calligraphy and contemporary ink painting, demonstrating its enduring impact on Japanese aesthetics. Through its balance of simplicity and complexity, sumie embodies the essence of Japanese artistic philosophy, celebrating the beauty found in minimalism and imperfection. The Kano and Rinpa schools. The Kano and Rinpa schools are two of the most influential painting traditions in Japanese art history, each contributing distinct styles and philosophies that shape the evolution of Japanese aesthetics. While both schools emerged during Japan's feudal period, they differed in their artistic approach, patronage, and thematic focus. The Kano school, known for its dynamic, structured compositions and strong brushwork, was favored by the ruling class, while the Rinpa school embraced decorative elegance, asymmetry, and vibrant color, appealing to the refined tastes of Kyoto's aristocrats and merchants. The Kano school, established in the late 15th century by Kano Masanobu, became the dominant painting style for over 300 years, supported by samurai rulers and shoguns. Its artists were trained in Chinese-influenced ink painting, sumi-e, but adapted the style to include rich colors and gold leaf, creating a uniquely Japanese aesthetic. The school flourished under Kano Motonobu, who blended Chinese brush techniques with Japanese themes, and later under Kano Eitoku, who developed grand, large-scale paintings for castles and temples. His monumental Fusuma-e, sliding door paintings, featured bold compositions, powerful animals like tigers, and vast landscapes that symbolized strength and authority. The Kano school's influence extended through the Edo period, 1603 to 1868, as successive generations of Kano artists continued to serve the ruling elite. While their work retained strong brush outlines and dramatic contrasts, later artists introduced softer, more decorative elements. The school's disciplined approach to training ensured its longevity, producing master artists like Kano Sanraku and Kano Tanyu, whose works adorned castles such as Nijo Castle in Kyoto. In contrast, the Rinpa school emerged in the early 17th century with a more ornamental and fluid style, focusing on nature, poetry, and seasonal themes. Founded by Honami Koetsu and Tawaraya Sotetsu, the Rinpa tradition drew inspiration from classical Heian period aesthetics, incorporating vibrant mineral pigments, gold and silver leaf backgrounds, and stylized forms. Unlike the formal structure of the Kano school, Rinpa compositions often featured asymmetry and rhythmic movement, creating an ethereal, dreamlike quality. Later, the style was further refined by Ogata Korin and Ogata Kenzan, who introduced bold outlines, simplified shapes, and innovative decorative patterns. Their famous works, such as Red and White Plum Blossoms and Irises, exemplify the school's emphasis on elegant flowing forms and luxurious materials. Rinpa artists often worked across multiple mediums, including ceramics, lacquerware, and textiles, further extending their influence on Japanese design. Though different in style and purpose, both the Kano and Rinpa schools left a lasting legacy on Japanese art. The Kano school's disciplined techniques shaped official and historical painting traditions, while the Rinpa school's expressive beauty influenced later artists, including those of the modern Nihonga movement. Their distinct yet complementary contributions continue to define the richness of Japanese painting. Chapter 3, Ukiyo-e and the Art of Woodblock Printing. Ukiyo-e, or Pictures of the Floating World, is one of the most iconic art forms in Japanese history, known for its vibrant woodblock prints that captured the fleeting beauty of urban life, nature, and folklore. Emerging during the Edo period, 1603 to 1868, ukiyo-e reflected the culture of Japan's merchant class, depicting scenes of entertainment, courtesans, kabuki actors, landscapes, and legendary tales. This art form revolutionized visual storytelling and influenced both Japanese and Western artists in the centuries that followed. The development of ukiyo-e was closely tied to the rise of Edo, modern-day Tokyo, as a bustling metropolis. With a growing middle class eager to indulge in the pleasures of city life, artists began to create works that depicted the vibrant entertainment districts, famous courtesans, and popular kabuki actors. Early ukiyo-e works were hand-painted, but as demand increased, woodblock printing became the primary method of production, allowing for the mass reproduction of artworks. This technique involved multiple artisans, the designer, the woodcarver, the printer, and the publisher, each playing a crucial role in bringing the final image to life. One of the earliest masters of ukiyo-e was Hishikawa Moronobu, who pioneered single-sheet prints depicting everyday life. His work laid the foundation for later artists like Suzuki Harunobu, who introduced Nishiki-e, or full-color woodblock prints, in the mid-18th century. This innovation allowed for more complex and vivid compositions, expanding the possibilities of ukiyo-e as an artistic medium. During the late Edo period, ukiyo-e expanded beyond urban pleasures to include landscapes and nature scenes, leading to some of the most celebrated works in Japanese art history. Katsushika Hokusai and Utagawa Hiroshige became known for their breathtaking landscape prints, with Hokusai's 36 views of Mount Fuji and Hiroshige's the 53 stations of the Tokaido, capturing the beauty of Japan's countryside with dynamic compositions and innovative perspectives. These prints emphasized movement, atmosphere, and seasonal changes, embodying the Japanese appreciation for nature's transient beauty. Ukiyo-e prints had a profound impact on Western art in the late 19th century, particularly during the Japonism movement, which influenced Impressionist and Post-Impressionist painters such as Monet, Van Gogh, and Degas. The flat planes of color, asymmetrical compositions, and bold outlines seen in ukiyo-e prints inspired new artistic approaches in Europe, bridging the gap between Eastern and Western artistic traditions. Despite its decline with the modernization of Japan in the late 19th century, ukiyo-e remains an enduring symbol of Japanese artistry. Its influence continues to be seen in contemporary art, anime, and graphic design, preserving the spirit of the floating world in modern culture. Origins and development of ukiyo-e. The origins of ukiyo-e, or pictures of the floating world, trace back to the early Edo period, 1603 to 1868, in Japan, when the country experienced significant social, economic, and cultural transformation. The term, ukiyo, originally referred to the fleeting, transient nature of life, and it was associated with the Buddhist concept of impermanence. However, during the Edo period, the term took on a more secular meaning, representing the pleasures and indulgences of urban life. As Japan's merchant class grew wealthier and more influential, the flourishing cities, especially Edo, modern Tokyo, became centers of entertainment, leisure, and materialism. It was within this context that ukiyo-e was born, capturing the essence of the floating world through art. The early development of ukiyo-e can be traced to the rise of woodblock printing in Japan, a medium that allowed for the mass production of images at relatively low costs. Woodblock printing had been used in Japan since the 8th century, primarily for Buddhist texts and religious images, but it was in the Edo period that it evolved into a commercial art form. The demand for affordable, accessible art grew, and ukiyo-e became the perfect medium for reflecting the tastes of the rising merchant class. The works of ukiyo-e artists began to depict scenes from popular entertainment, including kabuki theater performances, sumo wrestling, courtesans from the pleasure quarters, and beautiful women, subjects that reflected the hedonistic, vibrant culture of Edo. In the early 17th century, Hishikawa Moronobu is credited with being one of the first artists to popularize the ukiyo-e style, producing early woodblock prints of daily life. His works were typically hand-painted before being reproduced in woodblock form. By the 18th century, artists like Suzuki Harunobu revolutionized ukiyo-e with the introduction of full-color woodblock prints, nishiki, allowing for more intricate and vivid depictions. Harunobu's color prints were able to capture the delicate beauty of courtesans and elegant scenes of daily life, a hallmark of ukiyo-e's appeal. As ukiyo-e evolved, it became increasingly diverse in its themes. In the late 18th and early 19th centuries, artists like Katsushika Hokusai and Utagawa Hiroshige shifted the focus of ukiyo-e from urban life to nature, particularly with their iconic landscapes. Hokusai's series, 36 Views of Mount Fuji, and Hiroshige's The 53 Stations of the Tokaido not only introduced breathtaking landscape compositions, but also redefined the relationship between humans and nature in art. By the mid-19th century, ukiyo-e had reached the height of its popularity. However, with the arrival of Western influences during the Meiji Restoration, 1868 to 1912, the demand for traditional ukiyo-e began to decline. Despite this, ukiyo-e left a lasting legacy on both Japanese and Western art, influencing movements like Impressionism and Post-Impressionism, and it remains a celebrated part of Japan's artistic heritage. Famous artists: Hokusai, Hiroshige, and Utamaro. Three of the most renowned and influential artists in the history of ukiyo are Katsushika Hokusai, Utagawa Hiroshige, and Kitagawa Utamaro. Each of these artists left an indelible mark on Japanese art through their unique approaches to woodblock printing and their ability to capture the essence of the floating world in different ways. Their works not only shaped ukiyo-e, but also impacted art movements beyond Japan, particularly in the West. Katsushika Hokusai, 1760 to 1849, is perhaps best known for his series 36 Views of Mount Fuji, which includes the iconic print The Great Wave off Kanagawa. Hokusai's works are characterized by bold compositions, dynamic perspectives, and a deep reverence for nature. While many ukiyo-e artists focused on urban life and its pleasures, Hokusai's landscapes, often featuring the majestic Mount Fuji, stand out for their dramatic expressions of natural beauty. Hokusai was not confined to one genre, and his work spanned from beautiful women to fish and insects. But his landscapes were revolutionary in their emotional depth and use of innovative techniques, such as the use of perspective that foreshadowed Western artistic developments. His legacy in the world of art is undeniable, influencing not only Japanese art but also Western artists, particularly Impressionists like Monet and Van Gogh. Utagawa Hiroshige, 1797 to 1858, is celebrated for his exquisite landscape prints and his ability to convey the changing seasons through subtle yet striking use of color and perspective. His series, The 53 Stations of the Tokaido, which depicts the famous highway between Edo and Kyoto, is one of his most famous works. Hiroshige's prints often capture the mood and atmosphere of a particular place, using soft colors and an emphasis on the natural environment. His work, while similarly focusing on nature, was more tranquil and lyrical than Hokusai's. Hiroshige's landscapes helped to redefine the genre and continue to influence not just Japanese art, but also the development of landscape painting in the West. Kitagawa Utamaro, 1753 to 1806, is renowned for his portraits of women, particularly those of the floating world, the courtesans and geisha of Edo's pleasure districts. His prints are notable for their elegance, intimacy, and psychological depth. Utamaro's ability to capture the beauty and personality of women, whether in formal portraits or intimate, everyday moments, set him apart from other ukiyo-e artists. His work includes both full-length portraits and close-ups, highlighting the intricate details of clothing, hair, and facial expressions. Utamaro's prints were widely popular, and his depictions of beautiful women became a quintessential theme in ukiyo-e, influencing fashion and art not only in Japan, but also in the West during the Japanism movement. Together, Hokusai, Hiroshige, and Utamaro represent the diversity and richness of ukiyo-e, each contributing a distinct vision that continues to resonate in the world of art today. Their legacy endures through their stunning prints, which encapsulate the beauty, emotion, and cultural significance of their time. Ukiyo-e's influence on Western art. The influence of ukiyo-e on Western art, particularly in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, was profound and far-reaching. As Japan opened its ports to the world during the Meiji Restoration, 1868 to 1912, European artists were introduced to Japanese prints, leading to the Japanism movement. This fascination with Japanese aesthetics transformed Western painting, printmaking, and decorative arts, influencing artists such as Claude Monet, Vincent van Gogh, Edgar Degas, and Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec. One of the most significant impacts of ukiyo-e on Western art was its use of composition and perspective. Unlike traditional European art, which often adhered to linear perspective and depth, ukiyo-e employed flat planes of color, asymmetrical compositions, and bold outlines. Artists like Hokusai and Hiroshige used unique angles and cropped compositions, creating a sense of movement and spontaneity. These elements inspired Impressionist and Post-Impressionist painters who sought to break free from the rigid academic traditions of European art. Claude Monet, for example, was an avid collector of ukiyo-e prints, and his Japanese bridge paintings in Giverny reflect the influence of Japanese aesthetics in their fluid lines and soft color transitions. Vincent van Gogh was another artist deeply influenced by ukiyo-e. He admired the bright colors, simplified forms, and bold contours seen in the works of Hokusai and Hiroshige. Van Gogh even created direct copies of ukiyo-e prints, such as his rendition of Hiroshige's Plum Garden in Kameido, adapting the Japanese style with his expressive brushwork and intense color palette. He also incorporated elements of Japanese composition, such as strong diagonal lines and the flattening of space, into his own paintings. In addition to painters, ukiyo-e had a significant impact on printmakers and illustrators. The French artist Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec, known for his posters of Parisian nightlife, adopted the flat areas of color and bold contouring characteristic of ukiyo-e. His works, depicting cabaret dancers and entertainers, echo the ukiyo-e tradition of portraying actors and courtesans in Edo period Japan. The influence of ukiyo-e extended beyond fine art into graphic design, fashion, and decorative arts, shaping the Art Nouveau movement. Designers incorporated Japanese-inspired floral patterns, curved lines, and asymmetrical arrangements into furniture, textiles, and book illustrations. Ukiyo-e's impact on Western art was not just a passing trend, but a major shift in artistic thought, encouraging experimentation with composition, perspective, and color. Even today, echoes of ukiyo-e can be seen in contemporary art, animation, and digital design, demonstrating its lasting legacy beyond Japan's borders. Chapter 4: The Elegance of Japanese Calligraphy. Japanese calligraphy, or shodo, is a highly respected art form that embodies the beauty of the written word through expressive brushwork and disciplined technique. Rooted in Chinese calligraphy, shodo developed its own distinct aesthetic and philosophy in Japan, influenced by Zen Buddhism, poetry, and the natural flow of ink on paper. More than just writing, shodo is a form of artistic expression that conveys the spirit and emotions of the calligrapher, making each stroke a reflection of their inner state. The history of Japanese calligraphy dates back to the introduction of Chinese characters, kanji, to Japan around the 5th century. Early Japanese calligraphers studied under Chinese masters, adopting their techniques and scripts. One of the most influential figures in early Japanese calligraphy was Kukai, a Buddhist monk who traveled to China in the early 9th century. Upon returning to Japan, he introduced a more fluid and artistic style of writing that incorporated elements of Zen philosophy. Over time, Japan developed its own writing system, including hiragana and katakana, which gave rise to uniquely Japanese calligraphic styles. Shodo is deeply connected to Zen Buddhism, emphasizing mindfulness, simplicity, and spontaneity. The act of writing is considered a form of meditation, where the calligrapher must be fully present in the moment. Each brushstroke must be executed with confidence, as there is no way to alter or erase mistakes. This principle, known as Ichigo Ichie, one time, one meeting, highlights the transient beauty of each written character. There are several traditional styles of Japanese calligraphy, ranging from highly structured to free-flowing forms. Kaisho block style is the most formal and precise, with clear, evenly spaced strokes. Gyosho, semi-cursive style, introduces smoother transitions between strokes, allowing for a more natural flow. Sosho, cursive style, is the most expressive, with fluid and often abstract strokes that convey a sense of movement and emotion. Each style serves a different purpose, from official documents to artistic expression. Calligraphy tools, known as the four treasures of the study, include the brush, ink, sumi, paper, washi, and ink stori. The quality of these materials plays a crucial role in the outcome of a calligraphic work. Traditional calligraphers often grind their own ink from solid ink sticks, a process that requires patience and discipline. Today, Shodo remains a revered art form in Japan, practiced by both professional calligraphers and students as part of cultural education. It is also incorporated into modern design, fashion, and even digital media, demonstrating its timeless appeal. Through the elegant strokes of Shodo, the beauty of the Japanese language is brought to life, reflecting the harmony between tradition and artistic expression. Brush techniques and styles. Japanese calligraphy, or Shodo, is an art form that relies on precise brush techniques and distinct writing styles to convey meaning, emotion, and aesthetic beauty. The brush, or fude, is a versatile tool that allows for a wide range of strokes, from bold and powerful to delicate and flowing. Mastering brush techniques requires discipline, control, and an understanding of how ink, pressure, and movement interact to create dynamic characters. One of the fundamental techniques in Shodo is the proper handling of the brush. The calligrapher holds the brush upright, gripping it lightly but firmly to maintain flexibility in movement. The angle and pressure applied to the brush determine the thickness and intensity of each stroke. A skilled calligrapher varies the pressure throughout a single stroke, creating a sense of rhythm and depth. The balance between thick and thin lines is essential in producing visually harmonious characters. There are several key brush techniques used in Shodo. Hein refers to the upward flick at the end of a stroke, adding a sense of movement and elegance. Tome is the technique of stopping a stroke cleanly, ensuring a crisp and defined edge. Hiri-harai and migi-harai are sweeping strokes that extend outward to the left and right, creating graceful, flowing lines. These techniques require years of practice to execute with precision and consistency. Different calligraphic styles further define the appearance and character of the writing. Kaisho, block script, is the most structured and formal style, with well-defined strokes and clear separation between characters. This style is often used for official documents and inscriptions. Gyosho, semi-cursive script, introduces smoother transitions between strokes, allowing for a more natural and expressive flow. It maintains readability while adding a sense of movement. Sosho, cursive script, is the most fluid and abstract, with characters appearing almost like brushstrokes in a painting. This style prioritizes expression over legibility, making it a favorite among artists. Beyond these three major styles, there are variations that emphasize personal expression and artistic flair. Some calligraphers blend styles within a single composition, using bold strokes for emphasis and delicate lines for subtlety. The spontaneity of ink flow, combined with the skillful control of the brush, allows each piece of calligraphy to be unique. Shodo is not merely about writing. It is about the interaction between brush, ink, and paper, capturing the calligrapher's spirit in every stroke. Whether in formal kaisho script or the expressive fluidity of sosho, the beauty of Japanese calligraphy lies in its balance between discipline and creativity, structure and spontaneity. Calligraphy and Zen Buddhism. Japanese calligraphy, or Shodo, is deeply intertwined with Zen Buddhism, reflecting its principles of mindfulness, simplicity, and spontaneity. Unlike Western calligraphy, which often emphasizes perfection and uniformity, Zen-influenced Shodo embraces imperfection, capturing the natural flow of the brush and the calligrapher's inner state. The practice of writing is not merely about producing aesthetically pleasing characters. It is a form of meditation, a way to cultivate focus and an expression of the transient nature of existence. Zen Buddhism emphasizes living in the present moment, a concept that is fundamental to calligraphy. When a calligrapher lifts the brush and makes a stroke, there is no opportunity for correction or hesitation. Each stroke must be executed with full awareness and confidence, embodying the Zen principle of ichigo ichie, the idea that every moment is unique and can never be repeated. This philosophy encourages practitioners to embrace imperfection and let go of self-consciousness, allowing their true spirit to flow onto the paper. A key aspect of Zen calligraphy is its connection to Enso, the hand-drawn circle that represents enlightenment, emptiness, and the cyclical nature of life. Anso is often drawn in a single, fluid motion, with no corrections or alterations. The way the ink flows, the shape of the circle, and the spaces within it all reflect the mental state of the artist at the moment of creation. Zen monks often practice drawing Enso as a form of spiritual training, using it as a way to deepen their meditation and awareness. The tools and materials of calligraphy also align with Zen ideals. The brush, fude, sumi, paper, washi, and inkstone, suzuri, are all considered sacred objects that require care and respect. Grinding the ink stick on the inkstone is a meditative process, encouraging the calligrapher to slow down and focus before beginning their work. The simplicity of these materials reinforces the Zen concept of minimalism, where beauty is found in the essence of things rather than in excess. Many Zen monks throughout history, such as Kukai, Ikkyu, and Hakuin, were also master calligraphers. Their works, often featuring Zen proverbs or poems, are known for their bold, expressive strokes that seem to capture energy itself. Unlike formal calligraphy, Zen calligraphy values spontaneity and freedom, sometimes appearing rough or unrefined, but always carrying deep meaning. Today, Shodo continues to be practiced as both an artistic and spiritual discipline, preserving its connection to Zen. Through the simple act of brush and ink meeting paper, calligraphy becomes a profound meditation, a reflection of the calligrapher's heart, and a celebration of the fleeting beauty of the present moment. Modern innovations in calligraphy. While traditional Shodo remains a revered art form, contemporary calligraphers have embraced innovation, blending ancient techniques with modern influences to create new expressions of Japanese calligraphy. These innovations range from experimental brushwork and mixed media approaches to digital adaptations that bring calligraphy into the modern age. The evolution of calligraphy reflects both a deep respect for tradition and a willingness to explore new artistic frontiers. One of the most significant modern innovations in calligraphy is the fusion of styles and materials. Contemporary calligraphers often move beyond traditional brush, ink, sumi, and paper washi, incorporating unconventional tools such as sponges, spray paint, and even digital pens. Artists also experiment with different surfaces, writing on glass, metal, fabric, and wood, to expand the reach of calligraphy beyond paper. This creative use of materials allows for new textures and dynamic visual effects that give the art form a fresh and contemporary feel. Another innovation is the integration of calligraphy with other artistic disciplines. Some artists combine Shodo with abstract painting, creating large-scale works that emphasize movement and expression. Others merge calligraphy with photography, graphic design, and animation, bringing static brushstrokes to life. These hybrid art forms appeal to a global audience, bridging the gap between traditional Japanese aesthetics and contemporary artistic sensibilities. In recent years, digital technology has also played a major role in reshaping calligraphy. With the rise of digital tablets and styluses, artists can now create calligraphic works on screens, allowing for greater experimentation with color, layering, and effects. Digital calligraphy is widely used in branding, advertising, and typography, making Japanese calligraphic elements more accessible and adaptable for modern design. Software tools enable artists to refine their brushstrokes while still preserving the organic flow and spontaneity of traditional inkwork. Public performances and large-scale installations have also become a defining feature of modern calligraphy. Many contemporary calligraphers create live performance art where they paint massive kanji characters on stage using oversized brushes, often accompanied by music or dance. These performances transform calligraphy into a dynamic and immersive experience, demonstrating the physicality and energy behind each stroke. Despite these innovations, modern calligraphy remains deeply connected to its spiritual and philosophical roots. Whether created with traditional ink or digital tools, calligraphy continues to embody the essence of Zen simplicity, mindfulness, and self-expression. By blending old and new, contemporary artists ensure that Japanese calligraphy remains a vibrant and evolving art form that resonates with both traditionalists and modern audiences worldwide. Chapter 5: Sculpture and Religious Art. Japanese sculpture and religious art have played a crucial role in shaping the country's spiritual and artistic identity. Deeply influenced by Buddhism, Shinto, and later artistic traditions, Japanese sculpture evolved from early ritual objects to highly sophisticated carvings that reflect both technical mastery and profound spiritual significance. Throughout history, sculptors created works that were not only visual masterpieces, but also deeply connected to religious beliefs and practices. The earliest forms of Japanese sculpture date back to the Kofun period, 3rd to 6th century, when clay haniwa figures were placed around burial mounds to protect the deceased. These simplistic yet expressive sculptures laid the foundation for later artistic developments. However, it was the introduction of Buddhism in the 6th century that truly transformed Japanese sculpture, as artisans began creating intricate representations of Buddhist deities, bodhisattvas, and enlightened beings. During the Asuka and Nara periods, 6th-8th century, Buddhist sculpture flourished under the patronage of the imperial court. Influenced by Chinese and Korean styles, early Buddhist sculptures were often made of bronze or wood and depicted serene, symmetrical figures with flowing robes. One of the most famous examples from this era is the Great Buddha, Daibutsu, of Todaiji Temple in Nara, a monumental bronze statue of Vairocana Buddha, symbolizing universal enlightenment. This era also saw the development of dry lacquer techniques, allowing sculptors to create lightweight yet detailed religious figures. The Heian period, 794 to 1185, marked a shift toward more naturalistic and dynamic sculptures. Wooden statues became the preferred medium, with artists carving expressive, lifelike figures that captured movement and emotion. The Kei school of sculpture, led by master sculptors like Unkei and Kaikei, produced some of the most striking works of Buddhist art, known for their realism, dramatic poses, and intense facial expressions. Statues of guardian deities, Niu, often placed at temple gates, exemplify this powerful style. Shinto, Japan's indigenous religion, also contributed to the country's sculptural traditions. Unlike Buddhist statues, Shinto religious art focused on simplicity and avoided anthropomorphic depictions of deities, kami. Instead, Shinto shrines house sacred objects shintai, such as mirrors, swords, or symbolic carvings that embodied the presence of the divine. In later centuries, Japanese sculpture continued to evolve, incorporating elements of Zen aesthetics and, in modern times, contemporary artistic influences. While religious sculpture remains an important part of temple and shrine culture, modern Japanese sculptors explore new materials and themes, blending traditional craftsmanship with contemporary artistic expression. Despite these changes, the legacy of Japan's religious art continues to inspire and resonate, reflecting a timeless devotion to both spirituality and artistic excellence. The influence of Buddhism on sculpture. Buddhism has had a profound impact on Japanese sculpture, shaping its artistic evolution and inspiring some of the country's most iconic religious artworks. Introduced from China and Korea in the 6th century, Buddhism brought with it new artistic traditions, leading to the creation of temples, statues, and carvings that conveyed deep spiritual meaning. Over time, Japanese sculptors developed a distinct style that blended imported influences with native artistic sensibilities, resulting in sculptures that were not only religious symbols, but also masterpieces of craftsmanship. In the early years of Buddhist art, Japanese sculptures closely followed Chinese and Korean prototypes, characterized by serene expressions, symmetrical features, and stylized drapery. The Asuka period, 538 to 710, saw the establishment of the first Buddhist temples, such as Horyoji, where early sculptures were made of gilt bronze and dry lacquer. One of the most famous works from this time is the Shaka Triad, created by Tori Bushi, which depicts a seated Buddha flanked by two bodhisattvas, reflecting the strong influence of Chinese Wei Dynasty sculpture. By the Nara period, 710 to 794, Buddhist sculpture became grander and more intricate, often produced on an unprecedented scale. The most famous example is the Great Buddha, Butsu of Todaiji, a colossal bronze statue of Vairocana Buddha commissioned by Emperor Shomu as a symbol of political and spiritual unity. The era also saw the rise of esoteric Buddhism, which introduced more elaborate and multi-armed deities such as Fudo Myo, depicted with fierce expressions and dynamic postures. During the Heian period, 794 to 1185, Japanese Buddhist sculpture moved toward greater naturalism and emotional depth. Wooden sculptures became more common, allowing for delicate carving techniques that captured lifelike facial expressions and flowing robes. The development of yosegi zukuri, a technique that involved assembling sculptures from multiple pieces of carved wood, enabled larger and more detailed statues. This period also saw a growing interest in Pure Land Buddhism, resulting in graceful and compassionate depictions of Amida Buddha, such as the famed Amida sculpture at Byodo-in Temple. The Kamakura period, 1185 to 1333, brought even greater realism and dramatic expression to Buddhist sculpture, influenced by the rise of warrior culture. The Kei school of sculptors, led by masters like Unkei and Kaikei, created statues with powerful musculature, intense gazes, and highly detailed drapery. Their works, such as the Neo-Guardian statues at Todaiji, convey strength and movement, reflecting both artistic mastery and deep spiritual devotion. Though Buddhist sculpture declined in later centuries due to political and cultural shifts, its legacy remains vital in modern Japan. Many of these masterpieces are preserved in temples and museums, continuing to inspire both spiritual reverence and artistic appreciation. The enduring influence of Buddhism on Japanese sculpture highlights its role in shaping the country's artistic and religious identity. Wooden and bronze statues. Japanese sculpture, particularly within the context of religious art, has historically been dominated by two primary materials, wood and bronze. Both mediums played a crucial role in shaping the artistic and spiritual landscape of Japan, allowing sculptors to create works that conveyed both grandeur and deep devotion. While bronze was favored for large-scale and early Buddhist statues, wood became the dominant material for temple sculptures due to its adaptability and expressive potential. Bronze statues were introduced to Japan during the Asuka period, 538 to 710, with the arrival of Buddhism. Inspired by Chinese and Korean influences, early Japanese artisans cast bronze figures of the Buddha and bodhisattvas, often gilded with gold to enhance their sacred presence. One of the most famous examples is the Great Buddha, Daibutsu, of Todaiji Hall, commissioned during the Nara period, 710 to 794. Standing at over 15 meters tall, this monumental bronze statue of Vairocana Buddha symbolizes wisdom and enlightenment, reflecting both the artistic ambitions and religious devotion of the era. The creation of such large bronze figures required advanced metalworking techniques, including casting in multiple sections and assembling the pieces with precision. Despite the impressive scale and durability of bronze statues, wood became the preferred medium for Buddhist sculpture during the Heian period, 794 to 1185. Japan's natural abundance of high-quality timber, such as cypress and camphor, made wood a more accessible and versatile material. Wooden statues allowed for intricate carvings and finer details, leading to more naturalistic and expressive figures. This period saw the rise of yosegi zukuri, a technique in which multiple blocks of wood were carved separately and then assembled, making it easier to create large sculptures without the risk of cracking. One of the most iconic wooden sculptures from this period is the Amida Buddha at Byodoin Temple, a masterpiece by Jocho, which captures the serene beauty and compassionate presence of Pure Land Buddhism. The Kamakura period, 1185 to 1333, brought even greater realism and dynamism to wooden statues. The Kei school of sculptors, led by Unkei, Kaikei, and Jokei, produced statues with strikingly lifelike expressions, detailed musculature, and a strong sense of movement. Their works, such as the imposing Neo-Guardian statues at Todaiji, exhibit an intense energy that reflects both the artistic advancements and the warrior-dominated culture of the time. While both wooden and bronze statues declined in production during later centuries, they remain essential elements of Japan's religious and artistic heritage. Many of these sculptures are preserved in temples and museums, continuing to inspire admiration for their craftsmanship and spiritual depth. Whether cast in metal or carved from wood, these statues embody the enduring beauty and devotion of Japanese religious art. The art of netsuke and small carvings. Netsuke and small carvings represent a unique and intricate aspect of Japanese sculpture, blending functionality with artistic expression. These miniature carvings, originally developed as practical accessories for traditional clothing, evolved into highly detailed works of art that reflected both craftsmanship and cultural identity. Made from materials such as wood, ivory, and bone, netsuke were small toggles used to secure pouches or containers, known as inro, to the obi sash of a kimono. Over time, they became more than just utilitarian objects, turning into collectible items that showcase the skill and creativity of Japanese artisans. The history of netsuke dates back to the Edo period, 1603 to 1868, a time when commoners and samurai alike wore kimonos without pockets. Since everyday items such as money, medicine, and seals needed to be carried externally in small pouches, netsuke served as a counterweight, keeping the pouch in place. Initially simple and functional, these small carvings became increasingly elaborate as craftsmen competed to create the most intricate and imaginative designs. By the 18th and 19th centuries, netsuke making had become a refined art form, with artists developing a wide range of styles and subjects. The themes depicted in netsuke were incredibly diverse, reflecting aspects of Japanese folklore, mythology, nature, and daily life. Many netsuke featured figures from classical literature, gods and spirits from Shinto and Buddhist traditions, or humorous depictions of animals and mythical creatures. Some were carved with dramatic expressions and lifelike movement, while others embraced abstraction and minimalism. The detail in these small carvings is astonishing, as artists worked within the constraints of a tiny space, often no more than a few centimeters in diameter, while still managing to create depth, texture, and storytelling elements. The materials used in netsuke carving also added to their appeal. Wooden netsuke, often made from boxwood or cherry, had a warm, organic feel and allowed for delicate carving. Ivory and bone netsuke, valued for their smooth texture and ability to hold fine detail, were highly sought after, though ethical concerns and legal restrictions have since limited their use. Some netsuke were even inlaid with precious metals or lacquer, adding another layer of refinement to the craft. With the decline of traditional Japanese dress in the Meiji period, 1868 to 1912, netsuke lost their practical function but gained popularity as collectible art pieces. Today, they are prized by museums and collectors worldwide, admired for their artistic ingenuity and cultural significance. Modern artisans continue to produce netsuke, often experimenting with new materials and contemporary themes while preserving the craftsmanship of this delicate and fascinating art form. Chapter 6: The Beauty of Japanese Gardens and Architecture. Japanese gardens and architecture embody a deep connection to nature, harmony, and simplicity. Rooted in centuries-old traditions, these art forms reflect the principles of wabi-sabi, the beauty of imperfection, balance, and spiritual tranquility. Whether in the meticulously arranged gardens of Kyoto or the serene wooden structures of traditional temples, Japanese aesthetics prioritize an organic relationship between human-made spaces and the natural world. Japanese gardens are carefully designed to evoke a sense of peace and contemplation. Influenced by Shinto, Buddhism, and Taoist philosophies, they incorporate natural elements such as rocks, water, plants, and sand to create miniature landscapes. Several styles of gardens have developed over the centuries, each serving a unique purpose. Karasansi, dry rock gardens, often found in Zen temples, use raked gravel and strategically placed stones to symbolize flowing water and mountains, encouraging meditation. Chiniwa, tea gardens, are designed as pathways leading to a tea house, where the experience of the tea ceremony is enhanced by the surrounding environment. Strolling gardens, common in feudal castles and noble estates, feature winding paths, ponds, and bridges, allowing visitors to appreciate changing perspectives as they move through the space. These gardens are not just ornamental, but are meant to be immersive experiences, engaging the senses and fostering mindfulness. Japanese architecture follows similar principles, emphasizing natural materials, open spaces, and seamless indoor-outdoor integration. Traditional buildings, such as temples, shrines, and tea houses, are constructed using wood, paper, and bamboo, creating a sense of warmth and simplicity. One of the most distinctive features of Japanese architecture is the ingawa, a veranda-like transition space that blurs the boundary between the home and garden. Sliding doors, fusuma, and shoji allow for flexible room arrangements, adjusting to seasonal needs while maintaining an airy, uncluttered aesthetic. The influence of Zen Buddhism is evident in structures like Ryoanji's Zen Temple, where minimalism and asymmetry play a crucial role. Similarly, Shrine, one of Japan's most sacred Shinto sites, is rebuilt every 20 years following ancient techniques, emphasizing impermanence and renewal. Castles, such as Himeji Castle, showcase Japan's expertise in defensive architecture, with intricate wooden frameworks designed to withstand earthquakes while maintaining elegance. Even in modern times, Japanese architecture continues to inspire innovation while preserving its core values. Architects such as Tadao Ando and Kengo Kuma integrate traditional elements with contemporary designs, using natural light, water, and wood to create serene, minimalist spaces. Whether ancient or modern, Japanese gardens and architecture reflect a timeless appreciation for harmony, nature, and the art of simplicity. Zen gardens and their symbolism. Zen gardens, also known as karasansui, or dry rock gardens, are among the most profound expressions of Japanese aesthetics and spirituality. Designed primarily for meditation and contemplation, these gardens strip away unnecessary elements, using only rocks, sand, and sparse vegetation to create landscapes that evoke a sense of tranquility and introspection. Rooted in Zen Buddhist philosophy, these gardens embody simplicity, impermanence, and the search for enlightenment. The core of a Zen garden's design lies in its symbolism. Unlike traditional gardens filled with lush greenery, Zen gardens use carefully arranged stones and meticulously raked gravel or sand to represent natural landscapes. The raked patterns in the sand, often in flowing wave-like designs, symbolize water, oceans, or rivers, while the stillness of the garden reflects the calm and unchanging nature of the mind. The rocks, carefully placed with deep thought and intention, represent mountains, islands, or deities, serving as focal points for meditation. Some interpretations suggest that the rocks mimic the austere beauty of nature, capturing the rugged landscapes of Japan's mountains or the timeless stability of the cosmos. One of the most famous examples of a Zen garden is the Ryoanji Garden in Kyoto, which consists of 15 stones placed on a sea of meticulously raked white gravel. The arrangement is designed so that, from any angle, at least one stone is always hidden from view. This mysterious composition encourages contemplation and symbolizes the incompleteness of human perception, reflecting the Buddhist concept that true understanding requires deeper introspection. Zen gardens are also shaped by the wabi-sabi aesthetic, which embraces the beauty of imperfection, transience, and simplicity. The asymmetry and minimalism in their layout emphasize the idea that nothing is permanent or complete, encouraging the viewer to find beauty in subtlety and restraint. Unlike Western gardens, which often strive for visual grandeur, Zen gardens invite quiet observation and personal reflection, fostering a connection between the mind and the natural world. Beyond their spiritual symbolism, Zen gardens also reflect the principles of discipline and mindfulness. Monks in Zen temples carefully rake the gravel each day, a practice that is not merely about maintaining order, but also about cultivating patience and focus. The act of raking, like the practice of Zen meditation, zazen, is a form of self-discipline, reinforcing the idea that true clarity comes from repeated mindful effort. Though they originated in temple settings, Zen gardens continue to inspire modern landscape design, offering spaces for reflection and peace in homes, public parks, and even contemporary urban environments. Whether in a centuries-old temple or a minimalist courtyard, the symbolic depth and serene beauty of Zen gardens remain a powerful reminder of the harmony between nature, the self, and the pursuit of enlightenment. Traditional architecture, pagodas, shrines, and tea houses. Traditional Japanese architecture is a reflection of the country's deep cultural and spiritual values, emphasizing harmony with nature, simplicity, and craftsmanship. Among its most iconic structures are pagodas, Shinto shrines, and tea houses, each serving a unique purpose while sharing common architectural principles such as the use of natural materials, wooden construction, and an aesthetic of refined minimalism. These structures are not merely buildings, they are profound expressions of religious devotion, philosophical ideals, and artistic heritage. Pagodas, originating from ancient Indian stupas, were introduced to Japan through the spread of Buddhism in the 6th century. These multi-tiered towers, typically built within temple complexes, are designed to house sacred relics and symbolize the Buddhist path to enlightenment. Unlike their Chinese counterparts, Japanese pagodas are often constructed from wood, making them both flexible and resilient against earthquakes. The 5-story pagoda of Horyuji, one of the oldest surviving wooden structures in the world, exemplifies this architectural ingenuity. Each tier of a pagoda represents one of the 5 elements in Buddhist cosmology: earth, water, fire, wind, and void, reflecting the interconnectedness of all existence. The internal structure, featuring a central pillar that allows movement during seismic activity, showcases the remarkable engineering techniques of ancient Japan. Shinto shrines, on the other hand, are deeply rooted in Japan's indigenous religion and serve as places of worship dedicated to kami, or divine spirits. Unlike Buddhist temples, which are often elaborate and richly decorated, Shinto shrines embrace simplicity and a deep reverence for nature. Built using natural materials like cypress wood and thatched roofs, shrines blend seamlessly into their surroundings. The most famous example is East Grand Shrine, which is rebuilt every 20 years following ancient construction methods, reinforcing the Shinto belief in renewal and impermanence. Shrines are recognizable by their torii gates, which mark the transition from the secular world to the sacred space beyond. Their layouts often include purification fountains, offering halls, and honden, main sanctuaries, where the enshrined deity resides. Tea houses, central to the Japanese tea ceremony, chanoyu, embody the ideals of wabi-sabi, appreciating simplicity, imperfection, and the transience of life. These small rustic structures are designed to create an atmosphere of serenity and mindfulness. Traditional tea houses, such as those in Kyoto's gardens, are built using natural materials like bamboo, clay walls, and thatched roofs, with sliding doors and low ceilings to encourage intimacy. The roji, or garden path leading to the tea house, is an essential part of the experience, preparing guests for a state of quiet reflection. Inside, the tokonoma alcove displays a hanging scroll or seasonal flower arrangement, reinforcing the connection between art, nature, and the present moment. Together, pagodas, shrines, and tea houses represent the essence of traditional Japanese architecture, each preserving centuries-old traditions while continuing to inspire admiration for their beauty, craftsmanship, and spiritual depth. The influence of wabi-sabi in design. Wabi-sabi is a fundamental aesthetic and philosophical concept in Japanese culture, celebrating imperfection, impermanence, and simplicity. Rooted in Zen Buddhism and Taoist thought, wabi-sabi finds beauty in the natural cycle of growth and decay, embracing the flawed, the incomplete, and the transient. This aesthetic deeply influences Japanese design, from architecture and ceramics to interior decor and even contemporary art, fostering an appreciation for understated elegance and the passage of time. The term wabi originally referred to the appreciation of solitude and rustic simplicity, while sabi connoted the beauty that emerges with age and wear. Together, they form an aesthetic sensibility that values authenticity, modesty, and the organic changes that occur over time. This philosophy stands in contrast to Western ideals of symmetry and perfection, instead favoring asymmetry, rough textures, and the marks left by time and use. One of the most striking applications of wabi-sabi is in Japanese architecture. Traditional tea houses, such as those used for the tea ceremony, chanoyu, exemplify this aesthetic with their natural materials, muted tones, and unembellished forms. These structures, often made of wood, bamboo, and paper, create a tranquil and intimate atmosphere, encouraging mindfulness and simplicity. The roji, garden path, leading to a tea house, is intentionally uneven and weathered, symbolizing the journey toward spiritual awareness. Similarly, tatami mat flooring, shoji screens, and earthen walls contribute to a sense of warmth and impermanence, reminding inhabitants of the changing seasons and the fleeting nature of life. In ceramics and craftsmanship, wabi-sabi is perhaps most evident in the Japanese art of kintsugi, the practice of repairing broken pottery with lacquer mixed with gold. Instead of discarding damaged objects, kintsugi highlights their cracks, turning imperfections into part of the object's history and beauty. This approach reflects the wabi-sabi belief that flaws should be embraced rather than concealed. Similarly, handcrafted pottery in the Raku tradition features uneven glazes and irregular shapes, celebrating spontaneity and the uniqueness of each piece. Wabi-sabi also influences modern interior design, where minimalism and organic elements create spaces that feel serene and lived in. Worn wooden furniture, aged stone surfaces, and handmade textiles bring warmth and character, while soft, earthy color palettes evoke a sense of calm. Unlike pristine, mass-produced aesthetics, wabi-sabi interiors feel natural and deeply personal, reflecting a lifestyle that values simplicity and authenticity. Even in contemporary art and fashion, wabi-sabi continues to inspire designers who seek to incorporate raw textures, faded fabrics, and asymmetrical forms. This timeless aesthetic serves as a reminder that beauty lies not in flawlessness, but in the gentle acceptance of imperfection, transience, and the quiet elegance of the natural world. Chapter 7. The Art of Kimono and Textile Design. The kimono is one of the most enduring symbols of Japanese culture, embodying a rich history of craftsmanship, tradition, and artistic expression. More than just a garment, the kimono reflects Japan's social customs, aesthetic values, and textile innovations. Over centuries, it has evolved in both form and function, yet it remains a powerful representation of Japanese identity and artistry. The origins of the kimono can be traced back to the Heian period, 794 to 1185, when it was influenced by Chinese court dress. During this time, layers of silk robes known as junihito were worn by the nobility, featuring elaborate color combinations that conveyed seasonal themes and social status. By the Edo period, 1603 to 1868, the kimono had become more standardized in its T-shaped design, allowing for greater versatility and a broader range of artistic expression through textiles and dyeing techniques. The artistry of kimono design is deeply rooted in traditional textile making techniques, each with its own unique characteristics. Yuzen dyeing, developed in the 17th century, allows for intricate, hand-painted patterns featuring nature-inspired motifs such as cherry blossoms, cranes, and flowing water. Another important technique, shibori, involves resist dyeing to create delicate, cloud-like patterns on fabric. For formal kimonos, gold and silver embroidery, nishijin ori, from Kyoto is often used to create shimmering, opulent designs. The choice of fabric also plays a crucial role in kimono artistry, with luxurious silks, fine hemp, and even hand-woven cotton used depending on the occasion and season. Kimonos are deeply symbolic, with every element, from the color and pattern to the way it is tied, carrying meaning. For example, bright floral designs are worn in spring, while subdued maple or chrysanthemum motifs appear in autumn. Formal kimonos, such as the furisode, with its long flowing sleeves, are worn by unmarried women, whereas the tomisode, featuring shorter sleeves and a family crest, is reserved for married women at formal events. The obi sash also plays a significant role in kimono aesthetics, with different knots and styles indicating the wearer's status and occasion. Despite modernization, the kimono remains a cherished part of Japanese culture, worn during special occasions such as weddings, tea ceremonies, and festivals. Today, contemporary designers are reinterpreting kimono fashion, blending traditional techniques with modern styles, fabrics, and global influences. While Western clothing dominates daily life in Japan, the kimono continues to be a revered art form, embodying a timeless appreciation for elegance, craftsmanship, and cultural heritage. The history and cultural significance of kimono. The kimono is one of Japan's most iconic garments, representing centuries of artistic craftsmanship, cultural identity, and social customs. Its history is deeply intertwined with Japan's evolving fashion trends, economic developments, and aesthetic values. Though its role in everyday life has diminished in modern times, the kimono remains a significant symbol of Japanese heritage, worn on special occasions and admired as an art form. The origins of the kimono date back to the Heian period, 794 to 1185, influenced by the Chinese Hanfu style. Aristocrats wore elaborate, multi-layered robes known as junitoi, which reflected rank and seasonal aesthetics through carefully selected color combinations. As Japan's cultural identity became more distinct, the kimono gradually evolved into a simplified, more practical form, suitable for daily wear across different social classes. During the Edo period, 1603 to 1868, the kimono reached its artistic peak. With Japan under the rule of the Tokugawa shogunate, a strict class hierarchy governed fashion, and kimono designs became a marker of status and identity. The wealthy merchant class, unable to display their riches through lavish accessories due to sumptuary laws, expressed their wealth through exquisitely dyed and embroidered kimonos. Patterns featuring nature, folklore, and seasonal motifs became popular, each carrying symbolic meanings. This period also saw the rise of specialized textile towns such as Kyoto's Nishijin, renowned for intricate brocade weaving, and Edo, modern-day Tokyo, where bold, dramatic dyeing techniques flourished. The Meiji period, 1868 to 1912, brought Western influence, modernizing Japan's fashion and pushing the kimono out of daily use for many. Government officials and business leaders adopted Western-style suits and dresses, while the kimono became associated with tradition and formal occasions. Despite this shift, the kimono remained an essential part of Japanese cultural life, worn during ceremonies, festivals, and significant life events, such as weddings and coming-of-age celebrations. Beyond fashion, the kimono holds deep cultural significance, representing values of harmony, respect, and attention to detail. Each aspect of a kimono, its fabric, pattern, and the way it is tied, conveys meaning. Seasonal motifs, such as cherry blossoms for spring and maple leaves for autumn, reflect Japan's reverence for nature, while different styles of kimono indicate a person's age, marital status, and occasion. The obi sash, which secures the kimono, is often an artistic statement in itself, with elaborate knots and intricate designs. Today, while Western clothing dominates daily life in Japan, the kimono remains a treasured cultural symbol. Designers and artisans continue to innovate, blending traditional techniques with modern fashion, ensuring that the kimono's rich history and artistic beauty endure for future generations. Weaving and dyeing techniques. The artistry of kimono and Japanese textiles is deeply rooted in centuries-old weaving and dyeing techniques that have been passed down through generations. These methods, developed and refined over time, contribute to the exquisite beauty and craftsmanship seen in traditional Japanese garments. From delicate hand-woven silk fabrics to intricate resist-dyeing processes, each technique reflects a harmonious blend of skill, creativity, and cultural significance. One of the most renowned weaving techniques is Nishijin Ori, originating from Kyoto's Nishijin district. This method, which dates back over 1,000 years, is characterized by its use of richly colored silk threads woven into elaborate patterns, often incorporating gold and silver leaf. Nishijin Ori fabrics are highly prized for their luxurious texture and are commonly used for formal kimonos and obi sashes. Another notable weaving technique is sumugi, a hand-woven silk fabric made from spun silk threads. Unlike the smooth, lustrous finish of Nishijin Ori, sumugi textiles have a more textured, matte appearance, making them ideal for casual or everyday kimono wear. The process of creating sumugi is highly labor-intensive, as the threads are hand-spun and dyed before weaving, ensuring each piece is unique. In addition to weaving, Japan is famous for its intricate dash dyeing techniques, which add depth and meaning to textile designs. One of the most distinctive methods is yuzen dyeing, developed in the Edo period. This hand-painting technique allows artisans to create detailed and colorful patterns, often depicting natural scenes such as cherry blossoms, cranes, and flowing water. The process involves carefully applying dye-resistant paste to areas that should remain undyed, allowing for precise and vivid designs. Kyoto remains the center of yuzen dyeing, with Kyo-yuzen being known for its elegant and refined motifs, while Kaga-yuzen, from Ishikawa Prefecture, is recognized for its more realistic and nature-inspired imagery. Another famous dyeing technique is shibori, a form of resist dyeing that creates intricate tie-dyed patterns. By folding, twisting, or binding sections of fabric before dyeing, artisans produce a variety of patterns ranging from simple dots to elaborate wave-like designs. Shibori-dyed textiles, often seen in indigo and white, have a distinct organic aesthetic that aligns with the principles of wabi-sabi. The katazome technique, a stencil-based resist dyeing method, also plays an important role in Japanese textile art. Using rice paste to mask areas of fabric before dyeing, artisans create repeating patterns with remarkable precision. This technique is commonly used for summer kimonos made of lightweight cotton or hemp. These weaving and dyeing techniques are more than just methods of textile production. They are expressions of cultural heritage and artistic mastery. While modern innovations have introduced new materials and techniques, traditional Japanese weaving and dyeing continue to be celebrated, ensuring that the legacy of these crafts remains vibrant in contemporary fashion and design. Modern adaptations in fashion. As Japan continues to embrace modernization while preserving its cultural heritage, the kimono and traditional textile arts have found new life in contemporary fashion. Designers, both in Japan and globally, have reinterpreted traditional weaving, dyeing, and garment-making techniques to create fresh, innovative styles that appeal to modern sensibilities. These adaptations allow the timeless elegance of Japanese textiles to merge with evolving fashion trends, ensuring that their legacy continues in new and unexpected ways. One of the most notable shifts in modern Japanese fashion is the reinvention of the kimono. While traditional kimonos remain an important part of ceremonial attire, everyday wear has transformed significantly. Designers now create kimono-inspired garments, such as jackets, dresses, and casual wraps, which retain the silhouette and patterns of classic kimonos but are adapted for greater practicality and comfort. These pieces often feature shorter lengths, lighter fabrics, and simplified obi belts, making them easier to wear in a fast-paced, contemporary lifestyle. The incorporation of Western tailoring techniques, such as structured cuts and fitted designs, further enhances the adaptability of kimono-based fashion. Another significant trend is the fusion of traditional textile techniques with contemporary streetwear and haute couture. Brands like Yohji Yamamoto, Issey Miyake, and Rei Kawakubo, Comme des Garçons, have drawn inspiration from traditional Japanese aesthetics, integrating elements such as asymmetry, layering, and minimalist designs into global fashion. Indigo-dyed fabrics, shibori tie-dye techniques, and hand-woven tsumugi silk are now commonly used in modern clothing lines, blending craftsmanship with cutting-edge design. Some designers have even repurposed vintage kimono fabrics to create unique, one-of-a-kind pieces, reflecting a sustainable approach to fashion. The influence of Japanese textiles in global fashion has also led to collaborations between traditional artisans and contemporary designers. In recent years, luxury brands have worked with Japanese textile makers to incorporate Nishijin-ori silk, yuzen dyeing, and other heritage techniques into modern garments and accessories. These partnerships help preserve traditional craftsmanship while introducing it to a wider audience. Beyond clothing, kimono fabrics and patterns have been integrated into accessories, footwear, and even interior design. Sneakers with obi-inspired patterns, handbags featuring Nishijin brocade, and scarves dyed using shibori techniques have become popular, allowing people to incorporate Japanese textile art into their daily lives in subtle yet meaningful ways. The modern adaptation of Japanese fashion highlights a balance between innovation and tradition. While the kimono may no longer be an everyday garment, its influence continues to shape the fashion industry, proving that centuries-old techniques and aesthetics can remain relevant and inspiring in a rapidly changing world. Chapter 8: The Aesthetics of Japanese Pottery and Ceramics. Japanese pottery and ceramics have a long and revered history, deeply connected to the country's cultural, spiritual, and artistic traditions. From simple unglazed earthenware to finely crafted porcelain, Japanese ceramics reflect an appreciation for nature, imperfection, and the passage of time. Rooted in both functional use and artistic expression, these works continue to evolve while maintaining a strong link to traditional craftsmanship. The origins of Japanese pottery can be traced back to the Jomon period, c. 14,000 to 300 BCE, named after the distinctive cord-marked patterns found on early earthenware vessels. These primitive yet expressive forms laid the foundation for Japan's deep connection to clay as a medium. By the Kofun and Asuka periods, 300 to 710 CE, influence from Korea and China introduced more refined techniques, including the use of kilns and glazes. The rise of Buddhism in Japan also played a significant role in shaping ceramic styles, leading to the creation of ritual vessels and temple wares. During the Muromachi 1336 to 1573 and Momoyama 1573 to 1603 periods, the development of the tea ceremony, Chenoyu, under the guidance of tea masters such as Sen no Rikyu, elevated pottery to an art form. This period saw the emergence of some of Japan's most iconic pottery styles, including raku, shigaraki, and bizen ware. Raku ware, in particular, became synonymous with wabi-sabi aesthetics, celebrating simplicity, asymmetry, and the beauty of imperfection. The hand-molded, low-fired raku tea bowls, often featuring rough textures and spontaneous glaze patterns, perfectly embodied the Zen philosophy of mindfulness and impermanence. By the Edo period, 1603 to 1868, Advancements in kiln technology and trade with China and Korea led to the rise of porcelain production. Regions such as Arita and Imari became renowned for their delicate blue and white porcelain, influenced by Chinese Ming Dynasty designs. Meanwhile, Kyoyaki, Kyoto ware, developed elegant, hand-painted motifs that reflected the refined aesthetics of the imperial court. Each region's pottery developed its own unique characteristics, often reflecting local materials and traditions. Japanese ceramics continue to evolve in the modern era, with contemporary artists blending traditional techniques with innovative approaches. Some potters maintain centuries-old methods, while others experiment with new forms, glazes, and firing techniques. The philosophy of handmade, imperfect beauty remains central, influencing not just functional tableware, but also sculptural ceramic art. Whether through the rustic simplicity of a tea bowl or the delicate refinement of a porcelain vase, Japanese pottery embodies a deep respect for craftsmanship and nature. Its enduring appeal lies in its ability to connect past and present, blending tradition with the ever-changing rhythms of artistic expression. The Raku, Hagi, and Baizen styles. Japanese pottery is deeply influenced by regional traditions, natural materials, and centuries-old techniques. Among the most revered styles are Raku, Hagi, and Bizen, each with its own distinct characteristics and aesthetic philosophy. These pottery styles, closely associated with the Japanese tea ceremony and wabi-sabi ideals, emphasize simplicity, natural beauty, and the relationship between artist, material, and fire. Raku ware, developed in the late 16th century, is perhaps the most famous tea ceremony pottery. Created under the influence of tea master Sen no Rikyu, Raku embodies the principles of wabi-sabi, appreciating irregularity, imperfection, and natural textures. Raku pieces are hand-molded rather than wheel-thrown, giving them an organic and unrefined appearance. The firing process is unique. Raku pottery is rapidly cooled after being pulled from the kiln, resulting in spontaneous glaze effects, such as deep cracks or subtle color variations. Traditionally, black and red raku bowls are favored in tea ceremonies, their warmth and softness enhancing the tactile experience of drinking matcha. Unlike mass-produced ceramics, each raku piece is considered a one-of-a-kind work of art, reflecting the hands of the maker and the unpredictable nature of the firing process. Hagi ware, originating from Hagi, Yamaguchi Prefecture, is another tea ceremony favorite, prized for its soft, porous clay and subtle glazes. Developed by Korean potters brought to Japan in the late 16th century, Hagi ware is known for its muted earth tones, gentle textures, and understated elegance. One of its defining features is kanyu, or the fine cracks that appear in the glaze over time, allowing tea to seep into the surface and subtly change the color with repeated use. This transformation, known as nana-bake, the 7 changes, is highly valued as it reflects the passage of time and the interaction between the object and its owner. Hagi pottery's slightly rough, unglazed foot and delicate shapes make it a perfect companion for the quiet, meditative atmosphere of a tea gathering. Bizen ware, from Okayama Prefecture, is one of Japan's oldest pottery styles, dating back to at least the 12th century. Unlike raku and hagi, Bizen pottery is unglazed, relying instead on natural kiln effects created by high-temperature firing. The clay used for Bizen ware is rich in iron, giving the pieces warm, earthy tones, ranging from deep reds to smoky browns. Because it is fired for days in wood-burning kilns, the pottery develops spontaneous patterns from ash deposits and flame exposure, making each piece unique. The rugged, unpretentious quality of Bizen ware embodies the Zen aesthetic of simplicity and harmony with nature, making it highly valued for both tea utensils and everyday vessels. Together, raku, hagi, and Bizen pottery represent Japan's deep respect for natural materials, traditional craftsmanship, and the beauty of imperfection. Each style offers a different sensory experience, reflecting the philosophy that pottery is not just an object, but a living art form that evolves with time and use. The connection between tea ceremony and pottery. The Japanese tea ceremony, or chanoyu, is deeply intertwined with pottery, as the selection of tea bowls and utensils plays a vital role in the overall experience. Rooted in Zen Buddhism, the tea ceremony is not merely about drinking tea, but rather a meditative practice that emphasizes simplicity, harmony, and an appreciation for imperfection. The choice of pottery reflects these ideals, with different styles, textures, and aesthetics contributing to the sensory and philosophical depth of the ritual. One of the most significant aspects of tea ceremony pottery is the tea bowl, chawan, which serves as the centerpiece of the gathering. A well-chosen tea bowl is meant to complement the season, the atmosphere, and the personality of the host. For example, thick, rugged bowls like bizen or hagi ware are often used in winter to retain warmth, while lighter, more delicate bowls are preferred in summer. The bowl's shape, texture, and even the way it fits in one's hands influence the drinking experience, encouraging mindfulness and a connection between the drinker and the object. Among the many styles of pottery used in tea ceremonies, raku ware holds a particularly special place. Developed in the 16th century under the influence of Sen no Rikyu, raku bowls are hand-molded and low-fired, resulting in their soft, organic texture and unpredictable glaze patterns. The imperfections and natural variations in raku ware align with the wabi-sabi philosophy, which finds beauty in impermanence and asymmetry. Drinking tea from a raku bowl is considered a profound experience, as the warmth and roughness of the ceramic engage both the hands and the senses, enhancing the appreciation of the moment. Hagi ware, another tea ceremony favorite, is prized for its porous clay and gentle, understated glazes. Over time, hagi bowls undergo a transformation known as nanabake, the 7 changes, where tea gradually seeps into the cracks of the glaze, altering its color and texture. This process reflects the Japanese aesthetic of appreciating change and the passage of time. The evolving nature of hagi pottery makes it a cherished part of a tea practitioner's collection, as each bowl becomes a reflection of its owner's tea drinking history. Beyond the shawan, other ceramic utensils, such as water jars, mizusashi, tea caddies, cherry, and wastewater bowls, contribute to the overall harmony of the ceremony. Each piece is chosen with careful attention to balance and function, reinforcing the idea that the tea ceremony is not just about aesthetics, but about creating a holistic experience where every element is in sync. The connection between tea ceremony and pottery highlights Japan's deep respect for craftsmanship, mindfulness, and natural beauty. Through the careful selection and handling of ceramic vessels, the tea ceremony becomes more than a ritual. It becomes an art form that engages all the senses and fosters a profound appreciation for the fleeting yet meaningful moments of life. Contemporary Japanese ceramics. Japanese ceramics, with their deep historical roots and traditional techniques, have evolved significantly in the modern era. While the foundations of pottery remain deeply tied to historical styles such as raku, hagi, and bizen, contemporary Japanese ceramics embrace innovation, experimentation, and artistic individuality. Today's ceramic artists blend time-honored craftsmanship with new materials, firing methods, and conceptual approaches, pushing the boundaries of what defines Japanese pottery. One of the defining features of contemporary Japanese ceramics is the balance between tradition and modernity. Many artists trained in classical techniques choose to reinterpret them in ways that challenge conventional forms. Some potters experiment with asymmetry, exaggerated textures, and unconventional glazes, while others incorporate elements of sculpture, blurring the line between functional pottery and fine art. This approach allows contemporary ceramics to exist both as everyday objects and as conceptual art pieces displayed in museums and galleries worldwide. The influence of globalization has also played a role in shaping modern Japanese ceramics. While traditional kilns in places like Shigaraki, Bizen, and Mashiko continue to produce classic wares, younger artists often study abroad or collaborate with international designers, bringing in diverse influences. Some combine Western ceramic techniques with Japanese aesthetics, creating hybrid forms that appeal to both domestic and global audiences. This fusion of styles has led to an increasing presence of Japanese ceramic artists in the global art market, with exhibitions in Europe, North America, and beyond. Technological advancements have further expanded the possibilities in contemporary ceramics. Some artists utilize 3D printing, digital modeling, and new glazing techniques to achieve results that were once impossible with traditional handcrafting methods. These innovations allow for intricate designs, ultra-thin ceramics, and completely new textural possibilities. However, even as technology enters the craft, there remains a strong reverence for the handmade, with many artists emphasizing the human touch and organic nature of clay. Another notable trend is the rise of environmental consciousness in ceramic production. Many contemporary Japanese potters focus on sustainability, using natural, locally sourced clay and developing eco-friendly firing methods that reduce energy consumption. The philosophy of modanai, avoiding waste, is reflected in their work, encouraging a mindful approach to materials and production processes. Contemporary Japanese ceramics continue to evolve, offering a dynamic blend of past and present. Whether honoring tradition or embracing bold innovation, today's ceramic artists maintain the core Japanese aesthetic of simplicity, harmony, and deep respect for nature. Through their work, they ensure that Japan's rich ceramic heritage remains relevant in an ever-changing world, bridging history and modern artistic expression. Chapter 9, Theatrical and Performance Arts. Japanese theatrical and performance arts have a long and rich history, blending storytelling, music, dance, and elaborate costumes to create immersive experiences. Rooted in centuries-old traditions, these art forms continue to thrive in modern Japan, preserving their cultural significance while evolving to engage contemporary audiences. From the refined elegance of No to the dynamic energy of Kabuki and the puppetry of Bunraku, Japanese theater reflects the country's deep artistic sensibilities and its ability to balance tradition with innovation. No theater, one of Japan's oldest theatrical forms, dates back to the 14th century and is known for its highly stylized movements, slow pacing, and use of masks. Developed under the patronage of the samurai class, No performances are deeply symbolic and often explore themes of spirituality, destiny, and the supernatural. The actors wear intricately designed masks that convey different characters' emotions, relying on subtle gestures and vocal intonations rather than exaggerated expressions. The minimalist stage design and the presence of a live chorus and musicians create an ethereal atmosphere, reinforcing the contemplative nature of the performance. In contrast, Kabuki, which emerged in the 17th century, is a more vibrant and dramatic form of theater. Known for its elaborate costumes, exaggerated makeup, kumadori, and energetic performances, Kabuki captivates audiences with its striking visual spectacle. Originally performed by female dancers, Kabuki transitioned into an all-male art form, with actors specializing in different roles, such as onagata, male actors playing female characters. Kabuki plays often depict historical events, legendary tales, and intense human emotions, accompanied by traditional shamisen music and elaborate stage effects like trapdoors and revolving platforms. The engaging and often spectacular nature of Kabuki has made it one of Japan's most internationally recognized theatrical traditions. Bunraku, or Japanese puppet theater, developed around the same time as Kabuki and is known for its incredibly detailed puppets, each manipulated by 3 puppeteers. Unlike Western puppet shows, Bunraku is a serious art form, often depicting tragic stories of love, duty, and sacrifice. The narration, delivered by a tayu, is accompanied by shamisen music, adding emotional depth to the performance. The skill of the puppeteers, who move the dolls with astonishing precision, brings an almost human-like realism to the characters, making Bunraku one of Japan's most refined theatrical traditions. Beyond these classical forms, modern Japanese performance arts have evolved to include experimental theater, contemporary dance, and even adaptations of Western plays infused with Japanese aesthetics. The legacy of traditional theater continues to influence filmmakers, anime creators, and performing artists, ensuring that Japan's rich theatrical heritage remains a vital part of its artistic landscape. Through a blend of old and new, Japanese performance arts continue to captivate audiences, celebrating the country's storytelling traditions and artistic ingenuity. No and Kabuki, a study of traditional theater. No and Kabuki are two of Japan's most iconic theatrical traditions, each representing a unique approach to performance, storytelling, and aesthetics. While both forms of theater share deep historical roots, they differ significantly in style, presentation, and audience engagement. No, characterized by its minimalism and spiritual themes, contrasts sharply with the vibrant, dramatic, and highly visual spectacle of Kabuki. Together, these two art forms illustrate the diversity of Japanese theater and its enduring cultural significance. No theater, which emerged in the 14th century, is considered Japan's oldest theatrical tradition. Developed under the influence of Zen Buddhism, No emphasizes subtlety, symbolism, and an appreciation of silence and space. The performances are slow and deliberate, requiring the audience to focus on the actors' controlled movements, poetic dialogue, and the haunting sounds of the accompanying musicians. The use of masks is a defining feature of No, with each mask representing a specific character type, such as an old man, a ghost, a woman, or a warrior. These masks, combined with precise gestures and postures, convey deep emotions despite the actors' limited facial expressions. The themes of No plays often revolve around supernatural beings, tragic historical figures, and philosophical reflections on life and death, creating an introspective and spiritual atmosphere. In contrast, Kabuki emerged in the early 17th century as a more dynamic and visually engaging form of theater. Unlike the restrained and contemplative nature of No, Kabuki is marked by elaborate costumes, bold makeup, exaggerated expressions, and fast-paced action. It was originally performed by female dancers, but government restrictions led to an all-male cast, a tradition that continues today. The most famous Kabuki actors specialize in roles such as onagata, men who perform as female characters with grace and precision. Kumadori makeup, a striking face painting technique, further enhances the expressive power of Kabuki, with different colors symbolizing traits such as heroism, villainy, or supernatural presence. The stagecraft in Kabuki is another striking difference from No. Kabuki theaters feature elaborate sets, revolving platforms, trapdoors, and even flying actors, creating an immersive and highly entertaining experience. The plays often depict historical events, legendary tales, and dramatic personal conflicts, making them accessible and engaging for a broad audience. While No and Kabuki differ in tone and execution, they both hold an important place in Japanese cultural history. No represents the elegance of minimalism and spiritual depth, while Kabuki embraces theatrical spectacle and raw emotion. Together, they showcase the rich theatrical heritage of Japan, reflecting its artistic traditions and the evolution of performance across the centuries. Bunraku, the art of puppetry. Bunraku, Japan's traditional form of puppet theater, is a highly sophisticated and emotionally powerful art that has captivated audiences for centuries. Originating in the 17th century, Bunraku combines intricate puppetry, compelling narration, and live musical accompaniment to tell dramatic stories, often centered on themes of love, duty, and sacrifice. Unlike Western puppetry, which is typically associated with entertainment for children, Bunraku is a serious art form that conveys deep human emotions and complex narratives. Each Bunraku puppet is a work of art, crafted with exquisite attention to detail. These puppets are much larger than Western marionettes, typically standing around 3 to 4 feet tall. They have articulated heads, hands, and sometimes movable eyes and mouths, allowing for a wide range of expressions. Unlike traditional hand or string puppets, Bunraku puppets are manipulated by 3 puppeteers, working in perfect coordination. The lead puppeteer, Omozukai, controls the head and right hand. The second puppeteer, Hidarizukai, controls the left hand, and the third puppeteer, Ashizukai, operates the legs and feet. This intricate system of control allows the puppets to move with an astonishing level of realism, expressing emotions such as sorrow, joy, and determination. A key element of bunraku is the narration, performed by a highly skilled storyteller known as the taiyu. The taiyu delivers all the dialogue, alters his voice for different characters, and conveys the emotional depth of the story. His performance is accompanied by a shamisen, a three-stringed instrument that sets the mood and rhythm of the play. The combination of dramatic narration, expressive puppetry, and evocative music creates a theatrical experience that is both immersive and deeply moving. Bunraku plays often explore historical dramas and domestic tragedies, focusing on conflicts between personal emotions and societal obligations. Many of these stories were later adapted into kabuki theater, highlighting the strong connection between Japan's traditional performing arts. One of the most famous bunraku playwrights was Chikamatsu Manzaemon, 1653 to 1725, often called the Shakespeare of Japan. His works, such as The Love Suicides at Sonezaki, capture the struggles of ordinary people caught between love and duty, a recurring theme in Japanese theater. Despite the rise of modern entertainment, bunraku remains an important part of Japan's cultural heritage. Today, performances continue to be staged at theaters, such as the National Bunraku Theater in Osaka, preserving the art for new generations. The dedication and skill required to master bunraku puppetry ensure that it remains a respected and cherished form of storytelling, showcasing Japan's deep artistic traditions and its unique approach to performance. Modern theater and experimental performances. Japanese theater has evolved significantly beyond its traditional forms, giving rise to a diverse and experimental contemporary scene. While no kabuki and bunraku continue to be performed and celebrated, modern theater in Japan has embraced new techniques, narratives, and performance styles that reflect societal changes, global influences, and artistic innovation. From avant-garde experimental performances to modern adaptations of Western and classical Japanese plays, contemporary theater in Japan remains a dynamic and evolving art form. The emergence of modern Japanese theater, often referred to as shingeki, new theater, began in the early 20th century as a response to Western dramatic traditions. Influenced by playwrights such as Anton Chekhov, Henrik Ibsen, and Bertolt Brecht, shingeki sought to break away from the stylized conventions of traditional theater, focusing instead on realism, social themes, and psychological depth. Unlike kabuki and no, which rely on exaggerated movements and historical narratives, shingeki adopted naturalistic acting, contemporary settings, and spoken dialogue, often addressing themes such as war, family, and political change. During the post-war period, Japanese theater saw a surge of experimental and avant-garde performances, with playwrights and directors challenging conventional storytelling and performance techniques. Figures like Shuji Terayama, founder of the Tenjo Sajiki theater troupe, and Tadashi Suzuki, known for his physically intense Suzuki method of actor training, pushed the boundaries of theatrical expression. Their works often featured abstract staging, nonlinear narratives, audience participation, and elements of surrealism, reflecting the turbulence of Japan's post-war identity and its search for new artistic voices. One of the most internationally recognized Japanese playwrights of the 20th century is Yukio Mishima, who combined traditional no aesthetics with modern themes in his plays. His work, along with that of Minoru Betsuyaku and other post-war dramatists, helped redefine Japanese theater as a space for philosophical and political discourse. In more recent years, contemporary Japanese theater has continued to expand with the rise of site-specific performances, multimedia integration, and immersive theater experiences. Companies like Seinendan, led by Oriza Hirata, have pioneered a style of theater that blends everyday realism with minimalistic aesthetics, while other experimental groups explore the intersection of theater with technology, dance, and film. Modern Japanese theater remains a vibrant and evolving field, balancing tradition with experimentation. Whether through intimate performances in small underground venues or large-scale productions in global festivals, Japan's contemporary theater scene continues to captivate audiences with its innovation and artistic depth, reflecting the changing landscape of Japanese society and its relationship with the world. Chapter 10: Contemporary Japanese Art and Global Influence. Contemporary Japanese art is a dynamic and evolving field that bridges traditional aesthetics with modern innovation. In recent decades, Japanese artists have gained international recognition for their ability to merge cultural heritage with cutting-edge concepts, influencing global art movements. From avant-garde installations to digital media and pop art, contemporary Japanese artists continue to push the boundaries of artistic expression while maintaining a strong connection to their cultural roots. One of the most prominent contemporary Japanese art is Yayoi Kusama, whose polka-dotted, infinity-themed installations have captivated audiences worldwide. Her work, which blends surrealism, minimalism, and pop art, reflects her personal struggles and psychological landscapes, creating immersive experiences that challenge perceptions of space and identity. Similarly, Takashi Murakami, known for his superflat movement, has redefined Japanese art by merging traditional techniques with contemporary pop culture. His colorful, anime-inspired artworks critique consumerism and the influence of mass media, making him one of Japan's most influential contemporary artists. Beyond individual artists, Japan's contemporary art scene thrives in various forms, including street art, digital art, and performance art. The rise of new media technologies has allowed artists to experiment with interactive installations, augmented reality, and video art. Visionary creators like Ryoji Ikeda, known for his work in sound and digital visuals, and Team Lab, a collective specializing in immersive digital environments, have transformed the way audiences experience art. Their large-scale exhibitions, featuring interactive light projections and responsive installations, highlight Japan's pioneering role in the fusion of art and technology. Japanese contemporary art has also been deeply influenced by the nation's history and social changes. Many artists explore themes related to post-war trauma, environmental concerns, and the challenges of modern urban life. For example, Chimpom, a provocative art collective, engages in socially conscious performances and installations that critique nuclear issues, urbanization, and political tensions in Japan. Their bold and often controversial works challenge conventional artistic norms and encourage public discourse on critical issues. The global appeal of Japanese contemporary art is evident in its widespread presence in museums, galleries, and international art fairs. Institutions such as the Mori Art Museum in Tokyo and the 21st Century Museum of Contemporary Art in Kanazawa showcase cutting-edge works that attract audiences from around the world. Japanese artists frequently collaborate with international brands, filmmakers, and fashion designers, further cementing their influence on global aesthetics. As contemporary Japanese art continues to evolve, it remains a testament to the country's ability to honor its traditions while embracing new forms of creativity. With its unique blend of history, innovation, and cultural commentary, Japanese art continues to shape and inspire the global artistic landscape. Post-war art movements and avant-garde artists. The aftermath of World War II brought a radical transformation to Japan's art scene, as artists sought new ways to express the country's shifting cultural and political landscape. The devastation of war, the American occupation, and Japan's rapid modernization all fueled a creative explosion that gave birth to avant-garde movements challenging traditional artistic norms. Post-war Japanese artists experimented with abstraction, performance art, and conceptual approaches, influencing global contemporary art in profound ways. One of the most significant post-war art movements was the Gutai Art Association, founded in 1954 by Jiro Yoshihara. The Gutai artists rejected pre-war artistic conventions, embracing an experimental and action-driven approach to art. Their works emphasized physical engagement, spontaneity, and material exploration, often incorporating performance, painting, and installation. Artists like Kazuo Shiraga, who painted using his feet while suspended from a rope, and Atsuko Tanaka, famous for her electric dress made of flashing light bulbs, pushed the boundaries of artistic expression. Gutai's emphasis on the relationship between the artist and their materials made it one of the most innovative movements of its time, influencing later Western art forms such as abstract expressionism and performance art. Another influential movement was Mono-ha, School of Things, which emerged in the late 1960s. Unlike Gutai, which focused on action and energy, Mono-ha artists explored the interactions between natural and industrial materials, emphasizing the beauty of raw materials and spatial relationships. Artists like Lee Ufan and Nobuo Sekine created minimalist installations using stone, wood, paper, and metal, often arranging them in ways that emphasized their inherent qualities rather than altering them. Their work was deeply influenced by Zen philosophy, inviting viewers to engage with art in a meditative, contemplative manner. During the 1960s and 1970s, Japanese avant-garde artists also became pioneers in performance and conceptual art. Figures like Yoko Ono, who was deeply involved in the Fluxus movement, created works that blended music, poetry, and interactive experiences. Her famous cut piece, in which audience members were invited to cut away pieces of her clothing, questioned ideas of vulnerability, control, and participation in art. Similarly, Tetsumi Kudo created provocative sculptures and installations that commented on post-war consumerism, environmental destruction, and human fragility. These post-war art movements and avant-garde artists played a critical role in shaping contemporary Japanese art. Their radical experimentation and global engagement helped position Japan as a major force in the international art scene. Even today, their influence can be seen in modern Japanese artists who continue to challenge artistic conventions and explore new forms of creative expression. The rise of anime, manga, and pop art. Anime, manga, and pop art have become defining elements of contemporary Japanese culture, influencing global entertainment and visual art. Emerging from Japan's post-war creative explosion, these mediums blend traditional artistic techniques with modern storytelling and digital innovation, shaping the country's cultural identity and its impact on the world. Manga, or Japanese comics, has a long history but saw significant growth after World War II, with artists like Osamu Tezuka revolutionizing the medium. Often called the god of manga, Tezuka introduced cinematic panel layouts, expressive character designs, and deep narratives in works such as Astro Boy and Blackjack. His storytelling innovations laid the foundation for modern manga, inspiring future generations of artists. Manga spans a vast range of genres, from action-packed shonen series like Dragon Ball to introspective seinen works like Akira. The accessibility and diversity of manga have made it a dominant force in global publishing, influencing comic book industries worldwide. Anime, the animated counterpart to manga, grew alongside Japan's booming media industry. The 1960s saw the rise of television anime, with series like Speed Racer and Astro Boy captivating audiences. By the 1980s and 1990s, anime had reached international markets with films like Hayao Miyazaki's My Neighbor Totoro and Princess Mononoke, which combined stunning hand-drawn animation with rich storytelling. Meanwhile, cyberpunk classics like Ghost in the Shell and Neon Genesis Evangelion introduced darker, philosophical themes, pushing anime beyond children's entertainment and into a respected art form. Today, anime remains a major cultural export, with global streaming services fueling its widespread popularity. Parallel to the rise of anime and manga, pop art in Japan developed a unique identity, blending contemporary visual culture with traditional aesthetics. Takashi Murakami, one of Japan's most influential modern artists, coined the superflat movement, which critiques consumerism, mass production, and the blurred line between high and low art. His works, featuring anime-inspired characters and bright commercialized aesthetics, challenge perceptions of fine art while celebrating Japan's otaku fan culture. Murakami's collaborations with brands like Louis Vuitton and musicians like Kanye West further illustrate the global reach of Japanese pop art. The rise of anime, manga, and pop art reflects Japan's ability to adapt traditional artistic sensibilities to modern media. These art forms continue to evolve, with digital platforms expanding their influence worldwide. As Japan's creative industries push the boundaries of storytelling, visual expression, and technology, the global fascination with its popular culture remains stronger than ever. Japanese artists on the global stage. Japanese artists have made a profound impact on the global art scene, blending traditional aesthetics with modern innovation to create works that resonate across cultures. From painting and sculpture to digital media and fashion, Japanese creators have established themselves as influential figures in contemporary art, pushing boundaries and redefining artistic expression. One of the most celebrated Japanese artists on the global stage is Yayoi Kusama. Her signature polka dots, infinity mirror rooms, and immersive installations have captivated audiences worldwide. Kusama's art, deeply influenced by her experiences with mental illness, explores themes of obsession, repetition, and self-obliteration. Exhibited in major institutions such as the Tate Modern, the Museum of Modern Art, MoMA, and the Louvre, her work continues to attract record-breaking attendance, proving her enduring influence on contemporary art. Another groundbreaking figure is Takashi Murakami, known for his superflat movement, which merges Japanese pop culture with fine art. Inspired by anime, manga, and consumerism, Murakami's vibrant, cartoon-like characters and commercial collaborations blur the lines between high and low art. His partnerships with Louis Vuitton, Billie Eilish, and Kanye West have cemented his reputation as a global cultural icon, demonstrating how Japanese artists can thrive beyond traditional gallery spaces. Beyond the realm of pop art, Japanese sculptor and installation artist Chiharu Shiota has gained international recognition for her large-scale thread installations. Using intricate webs of red or black string intertwined with everyday objects, Shiota creates immersive environments that explore themes of memory, human connection, and the passage of time. Her works have been exhibited at the Venice Biennale and prestigious galleries across Europe and Asia. In the world of digital and conceptual art, Ryoji Ikeda has become a leading figure in audiovisual and electronic installations. His works, which combine mathematics, data, and sound, challenge perceptions of reality and space. Often displayed in major art institutions and festivals around the world, Ikeda's digital landscapes exemplify Japan's innovation in contemporary media art. Japanese artists continue to redefine artistic traditions while embracing cutting-edge technologies and global influences. Whether through immersive installations, pop culture-infused paintings, or experimental digital works, they have left an indelible mark on the international art world. Their ability to merge the past with the future ensures that Japan remains a powerhouse of artistic creativity on the global stage. Chapter 11: Fusion of Tradition and Modernity in Japanese Art. Japanese art has long been defined by its ability to evolve while maintaining a deep reverence for tradition. In the modern era, this fusion of the old and the new has become a defining characteristic of the country's creative landscape. Artists across various disciplines seamlessly blend historical aesthetics, techniques, and philosophies with contemporary innovation, resulting in a dynamic and ever-evolving artistic identity that continues to captivate audiences worldwide. One of the most striking examples of this fusion is seen in the work of Takashi Murakami, who merges traditional Japanese painting techniques with modern pop culture imagery. His super-flat movement, inspired by classical ukiyo-e woodblock prints, eliminates the illusion of depth while incorporating bright anime-inspired visuals. This synthesis of historical and contemporary elements challenges the distinction between fine art and commercial culture, redefining the boundaries of artistic expression. In the field of architecture, Japan's approach to modernity remains deeply rooted in traditional design principles such as wabi-sabi, the beauty of imperfection, and the use of negative space. Architects like Tadao Ando and Kengo Kuma integrate natural materials, minimalist aesthetics, and spatial harmony into their work, while utilizing cutting-edge technology and sustainable design. Kuma, for instance, often incorporates traditional wooden craftsmanship into futuristic structures, creating a dialogue between past and present. His design for the Japan National Stadium, which hosted the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, is a testament to how traditional Japanese architecture can influence modern urban development. Japanese fashion designers also embody this balance between tradition and modernity. Issey Miyake, Yohji Yamamoto, and Rei Kawakubo have revolutionized global fashion by integrating elements of historical Japanese textiles, kimono-inspired silhouettes, and avant-garde deconstruction. Their ability to reinterpret traditional craftsmanship within a modern, experimental framework has earned them international acclaim. The same duality exists in the world of ceramics, where contemporary artists such as Takashi Nakazato and Shiro Tsujimura build upon ancient pottery traditions like raku and bisenware while exploring new forms, glazes, and firing techniques. Their works respect centuries-old methods, yet push the boundaries of texture, function, and artistic expression. As Japan continues to modernize, its art remains deeply connected to its heritage. This fusion of tradition and innovation not only preserves cultural identity, but also ensures that Japanese art remains relevant in an increasingly globalized world. By embracing both historical wisdom and contemporary creativity, Japanese artists continue to redefine what it means to honor tradition while looking toward the future. How traditional techniques inspire modern works. Traditional Japanese artistic techniques continue to play a significant role in shaping contemporary works across various mediums, from painting and sculpture to fashion and digital art. Many modern Japanese artists and designers draw inspiration from centuries-old craftsmanship, merging historical methods with new technologies to create innovative expressions that honor the past while embracing the future. One of the most prominent examples is the continued influence of Nihonga, or traditional Japanese painting. This style, which utilizes mineral pigments, ink, and gold leaf on washi, handmade paper, or silk, remains a foundation for many contemporary artists. Creators like Hiroshi Senju have modernized Nihonga by blending its techniques with abstract and minimalist elements, resulting in ethereal waterfall paintings that bridge tradition and modern aesthetics. His works capture the spirit of classical Japanese landscape painting while incorporating contemporary perspectives on nature and form. In the realm of woodblock printing, the intricate techniques perfected during the Edo period still inspire modern printmakers. Artists such as Takahashi Rikio and Toshio Arimoto incorporate the multi-layered printing process of ukiyo while experimenting with color, texture, and composition to create works that feel both nostalgic and avant-garde. Even outside of Japan, Western artists influenced by ukiyo-e, such as Vincent van Gogh and Claude Monet, demonstrate how these traditional methods have left a lasting global impact. Japanese ceramics also embody this fusion of old and new. Masters of raku, hagi, and bisenware have passed their knowledge down through generations, and contemporary potters continue to refine these time-honored techniques. Artists like Shinya Tanoi and Akihiro Nikaido take inspiration from traditional glazes and hand molding methods, but explore modern sculptural forms that push the boundaries of functional pottery. This seamless integration of heritage and innovation ensures that Japanese ceramics remain relevant in modern art and design. The world of fashion is another space where historical craftsmanship meets contemporary expression. Designers such as Issey Miyake and Junya Watanabe often incorporate ancient weaving and dyeing techniques, such as shibai dyeing and kasuri, ikat weaving, into high-tech, avant-garde garments. Miyake's signature APOC, a piece of cloth, technology, which revolutionized textile production, still reflects a deep appreciation for the principles of traditional Japanese fabric making. By preserving and reinventing traditional techniques, modern Japanese artists ensure that their cultural heritage remains a dynamic and evolving force. This interplay between the old and the new not only keeps Japan's artistic traditions alive, but also continues to inspire the global art and design landscape. The role of technology in contemporary art. Technology has become an integral force in shaping contemporary Japanese art, expanding the possibilities of expression while maintaining connections to traditional aesthetics. From digital installations and AI-generated works to interactive experiences, Japanese artists have embraced cutting-edge innovations to create immersive and dynamic pieces that redefine artistic boundaries. One of the most prominent collectives at the forefront of this movement is Team Lab, a Tokyo-based interdisciplinary group that merges art, science, and technology to produce large-scale digital installations. Their works, such as Borderless and Planets, use projection mapping, motion sensors, and AI algorithms to create interactive environments where viewers become part of the artwork. Inspired by traditional Japanese landscapes and nature, Team Lab's digital installations reflect the country's long-standing appreciation for seasonal changes and the impermanence of beauty while utilizing advanced technology to enhance the experience. The role of artificial intelligence, AI, and machine learning in contemporary art has also grown significantly. Japanese artists like Yoichi Ochi experiment with AI-generated imagery, holograms, and computational design to push the boundaries of visual and conceptual art. By training AI models on classical Japanese paintings and calligraphy, artists can generate new compositions that blend centuries-old techniques with futuristic aesthetics, creating a unique dialogue between tradition and digital innovation. In the realm of robotics and kinetic art, Japan continues to lead with artists like Hajime Sorayama, known for his hyper-realistic metallic humanoid figures. His futuristic yet sensual approach to mechanical life forms has influenced global pop culture and design, including collaborations with brands like Dior. Similarly, robotic installations such as Mikami Seiko's Desire of Codes integrate sensors and motion detection to explore themes of surveillance, identity, and human interaction with machines. Video games and virtual reality, VR, have also become significant platforms for artistic expression. Japanese game developers often blur the line between gaming and fine art, as seen in Hideo Kojima's cinematic storytelling in Death Stranding, or Fumito Ueda's minimalist world-building in Shadow of the Colossus. These interactive digital experiences draw upon traditional Japanese aesthetics while utilizing modern technology to engage audiences in deeply immersive narratives. The integration of technology into Japanese contemporary art reflects a natural evolution of the country's long-standing appreciation for craftsmanship, detail, and innovation. Whether through AI-generated paintings, interactive digital spaces, or robotics, modern Japanese artists continue to redefine the boundaries of art, ensuring that their cultural heritage remains relevant in an increasingly digitized world. Sustainability and future directions. As contemporary Japanese art continues to evolve, sustainability has become a crucial theme, influencing both artistic practices and material choices. With a deep-rooted cultural appreciation for nature, many Japanese artists and designers are exploring ways to create environmentally conscious works that reflect traditional philosophies while addressing modern ecological challenges. By embracing sustainable materials, innovative production methods, and new technologies, the future of Japanese art is moving toward a more responsible and harmonious relationship with the environment. One area where sustainability is making a significant impact is in traditional crafts and materials. Many contemporary artists are reviving ancient techniques such as washi paper making, natural dyeing, and handcrafted ceramics, but with an emphasis on ethical sourcing and reducing waste. For example, textile artists incorporating shibori and kasuri weaving methods are turning to organic cotton, plant-based dyes, and recycled fibers to create sustainable fashion pieces. This revival not only preserves centuries-old craftsmanship, but also aligns with modern ecological awareness. In architecture and design, sustainability plays a pivotal role in shaping contemporary projects. Japanese architects like Kengo Kuma prioritize the use of locally sourced wood, bamboo, and recycled materials, blending traditional design aesthetics with modern green building technologies. His works emphasize natural ventilation, minimal environmental impact, and a seamless integration with the surrounding landscape, an approach that aligns with Japan's long-standing architectural philosophies, such as wabi-sabi and ma. These sustainable design principles are becoming increasingly relevant as cities seek eco-friendly solutions for urban development. The world of digital and ephemeral art also presents new opportunities for sustainability. With the rise of digital installations, AI-generated art, and NFTs, non-fungible tokens, some artists are shifting away from resource-intensive physical mediums. Groups like TeamLab create immersive digital environments that do not rely on traditional materials, reducing waste and energy consumption associated with large-scale physical exhibitions. However, concerns around the carbon footprint of blockchain technologies used in digital art have led some artists to explore greener alternatives, such as eco-friendly NFT platforms and low-energy blockchain networks. Looking ahead, the future of Japanese art is likely to continue its balance between tradition and innovation, with sustainability playing an even greater role. As climate change and resource scarcity become more pressing global issues, Japanese artists and designers will find new ways to adapt, creating works that honor the past while shaping a more sustainable artistic future. Whether through biodegradable materials, digital experiences, or environmentally conscious craftsmanship, the next generation of Japanese art will not only preserve cultural heritage, but also contribute to a more responsible and thoughtful world. Chapter 12, Conclusion. Japanese art has long been defined by its ability to evolve while maintaining a deep reverence for tradition. From ancient Buddhist sculptures and ink wash paintings to contemporary digital installations and sustainable design, Japan's artistic legacy is one of continuous transformation. Throughout history, Japanese artists have embraced new influences, technologies, and ideas while staying true to core aesthetic principles such as simplicity, harmony with nature, and an appreciation for imperfection. This delicate balance between tradition and innovation has ensured the enduring relevance of Japanese art on both a national and global scale. The journey through Japan's artistic heritage reveals a profound connection between past and present. Traditional forms such as ukiyo-e woodblock prints, Nihonga painting, and calligraphy continue to inspire modern creators who reinterpret these methods for contemporary audiences. Fashion designers, architects, and even video game developers draw upon classical aesthetics while integrating cutting-edge materials and techniques, demonstrating that tradition is not static, but a living, evolving force. Artists like Takashi Murakami and collectives like TeamLab exemplify how historical influences can merge with modern technology to create new artistic frontiers that challenge conventional notions of art and audience interaction. Another key theme throughout Japanese art is its deep relationship with nature and spirituality. Whether expressed through Zen gardens, wabi-sabi design, or Shinto-influenced motifs, this reverence for the natural world remains central to artistic expression. In modern times, this connection has taken on a new meaning as sustainability becomes a pressing global concern. Contemporary artists and designers are finding ways to integrate eco-friendly materials, traditional craftsmanship, and digital alternatives to create works that are both innovative and environmentally responsible. This focus on sustainability ensures that Japan's artistic traditions will continue to flourish in ways that are mindful of the planet's future. Looking forward, Japanese art will undoubtedly continue its dynamic evolution. As technology advances and global influences shift, artists will explore new mediums, engage with diverse audiences, and push the boundaries of creative expression. Yet, the fundamental principles that have defined Japanese aesthetics for centuries, simplicity, balance, and a deep respect for craftsmanship, will remain at the heart of this transformation. Ultimately, Japanese art serves as a powerful testament to the ability of culture to adapt, endure, and inspire across generations. By embracing both tradition and modernity, it continues to captivate the world, offering a unique perspective that transcends time and borders. Whether through ancient brushstrokes or digital projections, Japan's artistic spirit remains as vibrant and influential as ever, shaping the future while honoring the past.